Here we go now. 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 Here we go now.
Are you keeping it real? I'm calling shotgun, wanna see my
Hello and welcome to day 2 of PUBG Mobile Club Open for the Pakistan region. It is going to be a different day today because, well, the timings have changed certainly, but the teams are here. The aggression is certainly going to be on point. With that, a huge thanks to Oppo F19 Pro, hashtag Wook Up Your Fun, along with which our official media partners are Nemo.tv. I'm going to be your host, caster analyst Laura. Joining us, of course, is going to be Ankit to take us through these games. We've got day 1 taken care of, and as the journey progresses on along, of course, this is the regional finals where we're at, and it is a huge undertaking for these teams, wherein day 2 will be the middle ground, Ankit. We've spoken about it, that today, if the teams are able to dominate, then the next 2 days will be in their favor. If not, then it is going to be an uphill battle for them.
Exactly, I mean, they have to really make it to look good as far as things are possible. As just mentioned, this is going to be the midway of the total of 16 games that will be playing. At the end of today's gameplay, they will be coming to that 50% of the game that will be vanquished for the moment. But it was yesterday's a game of total surprise because it was certainly some teams that was looking phenomenally good.
Well, with that, let's get the show moving on across. It is going to be the prize pool coming onto our screens where $29,200 is what is the massive prize pool. But along with that, the biggest thing to talk about is going to be the fact that the team that will be at the top of the totem pole by the end of this region final will be qualifying for PMPL Season 4. So that one slot for PMPL Season 4 will be awarded along with the $3,600 for the team that will be reigning in supreme at the end on the overall standings. For now, of course, the way that you do that is get those points working in your favor. Either it be placement points, either it be kills department. But of course, teams are going to be trying to work on towards both of those sides. And talking about the teams themselves, we have the 16 teams where right off the bat, we're looking at Team QWERTY. A team that I hope today will be able to make a mark. This is a team that has not had a good start, but I can certainly keep my fingers crossed and hope that they will bring in a different sort of a play today. Exactly.
I mean, yesterday they finished at 10th position with total 23 points, but certainly there are other teams to look out for. Talk about Northeast Esports, the Grounders, QWERTY Esports. I mean, this was a team that really topped the chart in yesterday's gameplay. Talk about the kill department, talk about the placement departments. Both were looking absolutely filled in terms of the total points they were securing. But moving on, we have Portal Esports, ZARAR Esports, Team NFP Sky, and then we have Team Star. Team Star in yesterday's gameplay, if you remember, were part of some real good fight, and then things really turned ugly for them as far as that things were possible. They really took some good kills and some good points. But talking about Freestyle, this is also one team that I'll have my eyes set upon because yesterday's gameplay, the last game that they played, that was a dip, and just because of that we can say that red marker in the name of Freestyle. 30 point is where they're standing, but not much of a difference if we get to see, because 47 is modified, is there at the second position. It's just a 17-point difference. Even if the team plays slowly and steadily, I mean, they try to bring consistently 10 to 12 points. I mean, 2 games will be more than enough for them to reach at the apex.
Absolutely, and that is something that Freestyle showcased yesterday as well in terms of the way that they worked towards those placement points by the end of it, and certainly were able to walk away with 10 plus points. I believe it was 10 points. Yeah, it was 10 plus points for them, and that worked in that team's favor to get themselves on this top 8. But again, there is going to be a climb. There is going to be a climb today, because today being the center of this entire moment, it is going to be teams that are going to be trying to remain this dominating. And in that domination, we do have QWERTY Esports with no chicken dinner, but find themselves with 64 points. Right behind them is going to be Modified without a chicken dinner, but look at the placement points. A huge difference is what has been created in that team's favor that has resulted in them on the second. So as we progress along towards the next page of the overall ranking, we shall see the difference from the 8th, which was not that big, because North Esports is the one that find themselves on the 9th and Team QWERTY on 10th. So right here we have from the 8th all the way down towards the 14th. These teams are only differentiated in terms of the points by 1 or 2, and those points can be easily collected. So a lot of undertaking that these teams are going to have to be showcasing today, and it is possible because walking away with the game just 2 points, and it is going to be a huge difference on into your overall standing.
Definitely, that is going to be the same case as we just got to see. But for the moment, we will be getting to see the head-to-head between 2 teams that are really trying to make up the mark. That is going to be Freestyles that we already talked about, but we need to talk more about Quraysh Esports. I mean, damage is certainly less in terms of what Quraysh Esports did secure in this last game itself, and then damage received is also higher in terms of what Freestyles has secured. Kills is also somewhere down the line, half to what Freestyles has secured, no chicken whatsoever, and thus finding themselves at the 25 total points at the 8th position. Both the teams, how far are they going to take a leap, or what sort of down leap is I'll be taking my eyes upon, because on the second half of the chart we have got some real big team. Talk about Team QWERTY and talk about Portal Esports. They really have the caliber and they really have the potential to actually trespass and bypass any two teams from the first half of the chart, and in that we might see some teams getting faltered down, but I'm fingers crossed, as you perfectly mentioned, Quraysh Esports. I mean, both the team start somewhere down the line at 7th, 8th spot. We have to see at the end of the today's gameplay which team will be finishing above whom.
Absolutely, and both these teams are going to be eyeing out against each other as they are so close based on the way that they have found themselves on the overall. But a team that will be bringing in the X factor today, the team that we're going to be looking out for, is going to be North Esports, a team that has been absolutely phenomenal in terms of the play that they have been able to create for themselves. But what sort of a play style will they be creating today against the entirety of the lobby is what the question will be dominant against this team. Now, again, when it comes down to FS as well as, of course, Quraysh, that team of Quraysh Esports, they have just gotten those 5 kills as we just saw. But one thing that they've been working towards consistently is certainly the placement point. That is working for that team's favor, and that is the reason why Quraysh find themselves on the 8th position of the overall ranking, and that is something that will certainly be able to favor them if they keep up onto that mark. But keeping in mind, you've got the likes of QWERTY Esports, which is just kill-hungry, dominating force. This team of Quraysh Esports, as well as, of course, FS, will have to start getting, along with the placement points, the kill department working towards them as well, because, well, you can not only work towards just that one target, you have to work towards both consistently, and that combined effort will give you the result that you want to achieve. And in that, now it is time to move on to the schedule, where we will have the 4 known maps that will start the day off. And of course, it is going to be Erangel, where we will be jumping in, followed by Miramar, and then Sanhok, and finally to close the day off, it will be Erangel once again.
Pretty much the same that we are getting to see, but in these sort of maps we got to see yesterday's gameplay where NFP Sky really started the match with a 7-kill chicken, if I'm not wrong, and then it was modified that really came second, and then it was an all easy affair for the Grounders in the last game of Erangel itself. So yesterday it was NFP Sky and Grounders that really tried to dominate, and then somewhere down the line it was also modified and QWERTY in that Erangel. I would love to see if even if North Esports, I just got to see the team cards of them, because the kill number is certainly dominating them and certainly helping them, because they are on the second highest number of kill tally if we talk about from obviously 9 to 16, and that can certainly be the one case that can favor the odd against them. But I'll have my eye set upon again on 52 Rage Esports.
Oh yes,
this team finished the semi-finals on a high, and they are on the bottom after the end of day 1. That's not the end. That's just the 1/4 of the game done. 3/4 are still remaining, and after today's gameplay, as we've been constantly repeating, we will be coming close to the 50% of the game. But before that, I see and I hope, I wish, a lot of hopes, I mean, for 52 Rage Esports.
Well, the hopes certainly are going to be rising as the day progresses on along from one team to the next. But, and when it comes to the gameplay itself, we know that some of these teams are absolutely dominating and annihilating when it comes to the playstyle that they work with, and especially in that form factor is going to be that one team that find themselves on the top of the leaderboard with a huge lead for themselves. It's none other than, of course, QWERTY Esports, a team that certainly has been consistently showcasing those wonderful plays that work in that team's favor. So we shall have to see if there will be a team that will now try and hunker their position down and try and take that lead. Again, when it comes down to the second position, it is modified that maybe might just be able to push on along. We shall have to see, but enough banter from our side, enough speculation from our side. Let's jump into the first game itself, where indeed it is going to be the Erangel, and the flight path will be on our screens.
It is already on from the sides of Milta Power downtown to there of Severny. We have seen sort of a flight path in the past itself, in the day before yesterday itself, and in these sort of flight paths we have seen some circles going towards the area of western side, where it completely dominates towards the area of Georgiapul or Gatka or Ruins, but we have to still wait for that. We haven't seen till now the military base circle for this region itself, and it will be a good affair, a good call to take if that happens. For the moment, it is going to be ZARAR that are slowly and steadily making their way towards the area of Milta Power. Till now they have been jumping towards the area of Milta, but it seems that now they might be jumping. They are jumping, yes, they are sure, but there is a big split from Milta to Milta Power. All the 4 players are in a different split, and since they have a very good knowledge about the surrounding, they are making use of it.
They most certainly are. For now, that is going to be the conversation for ZARAR, but as the journey continues on, we move on towards I-8. That is going to be jumping towards their known location of the military base itself, and following them very closely from the looks of it is going to be NFP Sky. An interesting play being showcased from them. On the other front, when it comes down to the prison region, we do have Team QWERTY getting themselves acclimated all the way from prison up towards Lipovka itself, and that is an interesting play that can be created from them because they have a 2-man split.
Indeed, they are in a split. Teams are and players are jumping in a split. As for the moment, in Yasan and Palana, we're getting to see the players are not certainly in a split, but the flight path is certainly favoring this time the eastern teams. That means QWERTY need not to move an inch before the circle actually presses them. And I guess the circle will be shifting again towards the eastern side, and that will be favoring the Lipovka. And then, as we know, the meta, the generic thing that the circle, as it moved towards that third or fourth shift, it will be slowly and steadily trying to leave the water side, and that will result that the circle has to shift on the western side. So a lot of things that we have to think about, a lot of permutation combination that can eventually result in some good fights and some bad fights and some mesmeric gameplay, because in yesterday's gameplay we remember I8 on that game of Miramar, a high fragging gameplay, 22 kill is what they were able to secure, and it was looking absolutely phenomenal for their side. Can we get some sort of again fight in the game of Erangel itself? If that happened, I would love to see, but for the moment the players are still in a glide, as now NFP Sky Esports are finding themselves in a bit of some precarious situation, finding themselves into the military base. But there we go. Before I even spoke any word for UAGxTUF, they have made it look so easy. Edgar, the man of the form, the man of the hour, the man who really dominated the semi-finals, is the one who brought the first knock.
Well, TUF Edgar certainly looking in supreme with that one kill that he's been able to confirm. And talk about a play, I mean, he does not have any utility whatsoever at all. No helmet, no vest, nothing, but still being able to retaliate. And on the other front, it is going to be the players from Ivy. What a play this is turning out to be with P19. It is just a 111 that has worked in this dude's favor, and he is bringing down the player of Clarity with this incredible, prowess that he's showcasing. But is this a fight that he was supposed to be taking? Because again, when he's doing all of this, it is Clarity's players who are absolutely going ahead and getting that loot segregated for themselves. And he right here, with just 15 bullets, should better go ahead and get that loot segregated for himself as well. Otherwise, it might just be a bit too late before Clarity gets themselves organized and pushes on along towards the entirety of their opponent team.
It was Zibyan that was on receiving end, but Wolf has been certainly taken away from this fight, and it seems it is looking pretty phenomenal for this moment for the rest of the lobby. Since one player has been eliminated, it seems that now the player can take some breather, and there is a lot of respite, because eventually 4 men for Clarity Esports would look more magnanimous in terms of 3 players from the sides of Clarity, but still the 3 players are just capable enough to take at least, I mean, a squad down or maybe an instant push that can be followed up. This team is capable of anything doing. We have seen in the past, we have seen in yesterday's gameplay itself, and if the team tries to emulate those sort of performance, I won't be surprised enough to see. But Ivy Esports, now this team is also one that really need all these points. In yesterday's gameplay itself, the team was looking pretty phenomenal. We saw some good gameplays coming in from the sides of Revenge. He was the one that really gave a lot of resistance, but not on the map of Erangel. Certainly it was the game of Miramar. So somewhere down the line, Miramar was one that they really struggled with the performance, but since it's the game of Erangel and Erangel dominates the day, twice is the number which it comes throughout the course of the day, they really need to take Erangel seriously.
They are going to have to be cautious. That is so very true, of course. But alongside that, when it comes down to the teams that find themselves in the center, or rather in the comfort of the zone is what I should say, the Phase 1 teams are looking pretty good and pretty neat. On towards the front of Yasna, we do have Quraysh Esports that is going to be all segregating the loot for themselves. Following them very closely seems to be the case from the side of FS, where FS is going to be making that rotation, but are going to be stopping themselves towards the center of the zone, pretty much on the western front. Perhaps first we should look at where there's going to be Star very close to Rosehawk indeed, as they have a 2-man split, and down south from that location is going to be the side of North Esports, who are all clustered against each other. But again, when it comes down to those contestations, the only teams that we do see in contestations were down towards the Georgia Pole, up towards the Georgia Pole I should say, that were of course the team of Clarity going up against a team that was certainly trying to dominate and annihilate their performance, and were able to actually bring down Wolf as well. So again, we shall have to see if that fight will lead on to something, or will it be completely stopped in the track for now. As we move on along, we do have Modified on our screens, a team that has not gotten a chicken dinner, but do find themselves on the 2nd spot of the overall ranking with 47 points for themselves. 16 total kills is what that team has been able to accumulate.
But they really need to up the ante, because it's just 642 average damage, and it seems that now since every team in yesterday's gameplay talk about Team QWERTY Freestyle, they were just testing the water. That's what I see. And since this is the day 2 of the regional finals, teams will be looking to go all guns blazing, and they really need to take things seriously. But in doing so, it is also going to be a big challenge for Team QWERTY to make a move, as now they are on a roll with all the vehicles getting acclimated. Lipovka is where they're standing for this moment, and they will be making sure for this moment. We have talked enough about the first and second teams and the teams that are on the second half of the chart. But now let's talk about the team that is still on the first half of the chart, but still struggling to find themselves in the top 8. That is going to be the Quraysh Esports. 5 kills is a total of what they secure in total of 4 matches. Average damage, I mean, look at this. 1070, still 400 more than what the team sitting at the second has secured. This certainly shows, I mean, a team that was looking phenomenally good. But then we got to see the I8. I mean, this was also a team that was really phenomenally good in terms of the Miramar and the Erangel that they did play. 26 total kill in just the 4 matches. They were rating supreme, but still on the 4th rank. They just need to work about the placement points, because already they have their strong gun gameplay, and they have showed in the yesterday's gameplay too.
That is so true. That is so true. They have showcased that, but again, that was just day number 1's journey and story. As the days progress on along, things are going to get that much more trickier for these teams, because it is a fight to be on the number 1 spot, to be a part of PMPL Season 4, and that is where these teams are not going to be faltering across. And again, when it comes to day 2, this is the middle ground that these teams are going to have to certainly rectify for themselves and convert each and every opportunity into kill for themselves, because this is the middle ground, after which they will have only 8 matches remaining. The countdown will begin from one match to the next. After today's day is done is when the countdown will begin, and that is when the pressure is going to get rising amongst them as well. And right now, as we move across these teams, we do have TUF on our screens, a team that can do so much better, but have not been able to do so on day 1. Let's see if day 2 will favor them or not. This team find themselves on the 15th position with only 17 points, and off of that, it is the kills that do give them the 11 point themselves. So when it comes down to the kills itself, this team certainly does get that part working for them. But now the sight is, they need to get more. They need to get more placement points. They need to get more kills. And that is how they're going to be moving away from that second page on the 15th spot to hopefully upwards towards the 10th and on, as we can expect and anticipate from the side of course, TUF. On the other front, it is Freestyle, a team that has found themselves on the 7th ranking as of now in the overall, with 11 kills that they've been able to accumulate. Placement points is what we saw this team working towards in the final game as well, where FS Malik was the man of the perfect moment, because he just stood his ground and absolutely, being the final man remaining, did not pencil down and still remained around the vicinity itself. And now it is going to be FS taking on the players of North Esports, with that the first airdrop being dropped on towards the prison region itself, and it is none other than Team QWERTY who this gift has been handed over towards. Will they be going ahead to take that loot is what we shall see, but they hopefully should, because Team QWERTY, another team that I do want to be able to see perform and outperform their competition.
Indeed, it is going to be the case, but as we just got to see, Gully Boy just secured 1 knock, still waiting for that confirmation to come in. But it seemed that I8 is trying to take that Novorupnoy bridge, and the way they will be making a comeback into that, or rather finding themselves into the northern island, is where they won't be finding itself, and no players are there from the opponent side. But it seems that now Freestyle's players are just trying to pin down the players from different directions, as now Team Star is also on a move, and now Freestyle is on a move, as now Malik brings 1 more knock, and all of a sudden, as soon as the circle went for a shift, we got to see the grounders that are also trying to enjoy the party. Why not to have your hands in all these situations where there is a complete sort of turmoil, and in that it was grounders that did secure cheekily 1 kill, and they have safely moved away from this area.
Absolutely. I mean, talk about bringing in third parties. It was North Esports not having a good start to the game, as they found themselves not only in the crosshairs of FS, but also of course TG, as they made that rotation, and in doing so these teams have gotten themselves a decent 1 point. But as the game progresses on along, we're at the 10-minute marker. Second phase is where we're at, and as the journey continues on, things are going to get trickier and trickier for the side of all of these teams, not pointing out any single one. Quraysh still find themselves, Quraysh Esports, towards the Yasnaya region, as they will be moving across that and making the rotation. They will... Well, no, they will not, because again, when it comes down to the rotation itself, it was going to be Clarity that I was going to bring up, as they found themselves towards the Mansion region, but that is certainly not going to be the case. On the other front, it is going to be Rex who are making a really late rotation.
They are. They are. It's Ivy that is pretty much making late rotation. And this sort of rotation can actually hamper your growth in terms of the way you are trying to do so. But Team QWERTY, I mean, talk about this team. Yesterday's gameplay was just not there. They didn't bloom. But they are just furious enough and they have the courage to play the split. They are in open situation. But the experience that the players bring in, the experience that the whole team brings in, actually allows them to have those sort of comfort and those cushions. And that has certainly helped them, because no other team has ever tried to make a rotation where that position with all the 4 players in different split, that's a trap. Even if 1 or 2 player tries to make a move from that same area, he will be certainly sent out of the lobby and those easy kills can be secured. But the question still remains, I mean, any team or any player is gonna be, are they gonna be making a rotation, and do they know that it is gonna be all the 4 players from the sides of QWERTY that has positioned them? But talking about positioning, it is gonna be UNB this time finding themselves into the shack around the areas. And talking about the positioning of Team QWERTY, now they are on a move and how quickly the players are on their toes. As a moment back we just saw them around the area of prison, and now they are around the area of shelter. Controlling these bunkers is one good thing that they can have in their favor. And also we just saw those vehicles, those mesmeric looking vehicles were just parked under those bunkers just in order to have a safe passage and not getting destroyed, because shelter is one area that can be under clear contestation. And it seems that now slowly and steadily Clarity Bablu is making a move, and as soon as they spot down the players of Team QWERTY, I'm sure that they won't be shying away from taking the fight. Even if they are down with 1 man, they will be trying to take up the fight.
Most certainly, and on our screens is going to be Rahman, the dude who was given that gift from the side of Airdrop and PUBG Gods. He will certainly be moving on across with the AUG and of course all the level 3 kit that is working in his favor. But on the other front, it is Clarity Esports who are making that rotation from the vicinity itself, who have found the compound of FS, and it is not going to be a decent play from the side of Freestyle, because of course this team of Clarity Esports, they are most certainly going to be keeping an eye out towards that compound as they make this rotation to get themselves further and further into the zone. And as they do so, on the other front, it is going to be Team QWERTY who are going to be waiting very patiently for that team to make that rotation. And as they do, it is Team QWERTY's revenge now that will need to be showcased. But will they be deciding to just keep that information? No, they will retaliate, and it is going to be none other than Dani who has been spotted first of all, and of course his teammates are right behind him. Zibian going to be the final player, but when it comes down to the burst damage or the spread that this team of Team QWERTY are trying, it will not be able to give the kind of damage that they anticipated. With that, the second airdrop being dropped along with the AWN and of course the usual level 3 kit that is of course which is part of every single airdrop. But the fights that these teams are now trying to participate in are looking pretty neat. We do have Clarity Esports who seem to have found themselves into the compound as well, and right across them the compound is open for any team to participate in, and it is going to be none other than apparently Portal Esports that is going to move on along and take this fight for themselves. But will they be allowed to do so, because Clarity Esports is Dani right here with the mini tap shots is absolutely reigning in supreme. On the other front, it is TG also on the same exact vicinity where PES were trying to make that rotation and have been caught. I8 also chiming in, and interesting third parties being created right here where Clarity did try and bring in the kill for themselves, but it was of course TG who got the better half of that entire fight.
Dani and Zibian looking completely sublime at this moment. They have those mini tap shots, they have those M4s in their hand, and they're just trying to do the magic. But for the moment, it's just the angle with which Portal Esports are being saved, and they were trying to save their vehicles indeed. But the grounders, I mean Shaptar, he was the one in the semi-final itself, and yesterday's gameplay also was the one that was really looking to take away from each and every team. And since he has been eliminated, it seems that it's going to be tough task, but still all the 3 players are alive. Talk about Knight, talk about Zigsaw, talk about other players that are still surviving. It is a big challenge against them, and that is obviously of I8, the team that was really looking for the phenomenal start in yesterday's gameplay. The start is also good for them because from the area of military base they have made some successful rotation, and in that they have also got some 1 kills. For the moment it is them with 2-2 split, just trying to completely dominate this area with the UZM trying to dominate the back end side, and some players have been deployed on the front end side. There is not a lot of compound. There's just a 1 squad house and a small little like building is with what the players are just trying to take, with Crypto leading the front charge. I mean, the way I8 is just trying to dominate the lobby, this is looking gobsmackingly well. With Crypto having his M4 in his hand, he must be trying to bring at least 1 knock, and it seems the grounders are now trying to play the game passively. 2 kills is what they were able to secure while they were trying to make a rotation, 1 eliminating from the sides of North Esports and 1 from different teams. And now it seems that they're just waiting for any team to make 1 small mistake. But Zigsaw is duly noting the rotations of any team that is happening from the backhand side. But on a different tangent, it is going to be Quraysh Esports that are looking completely unsettled because the players players are falling down, and it seemed that IAT Esports, since it was a slam-in, this was not a type of slam-in that should have made, but that has resulted Museum falling down.
Well, what a play right here from the side of Uzum indeed, and in doing so he has been able to bring down, and rather not only bring down but burn down his opponents. But Quraysh of course will be able to get their man standing up, and Quraysh Esports will now be chumming in and pushing on along against this compound that has been held from the side of IAT, and if that, it is going to be very, very difficult for Quraysh to hold their ground, because the team is looking absolutely in control, and confidence that is going to be played right there. The man who needs to absolutely try and dominate against this push that has been created from the side of Quraysh Esports. Quraysh Esports will firstly be making those revivals, and that is going to be critical in this situation. But Blade seems like he's going to be jumping in to take on the fight to the face of Quraysh Esports, and in doing so he has been brought on down to his knees as well. Not the kind of game style or play that we anticipated from the side of IH, but Quraysh Esports playing their cards right, are absolutely pincering down their opponents, and slowly but surely have brought them down to their knees. And now with this one final player that is going to be reviewed right there, will he be able to just bring in that perfect domination against the players of Quraysh, because Quraysh's health are not looking too good. It is going to be all up to Adi, and Adi is trying his level best, but not looking too easy as it comes down to the play. Again, two of the players of Quraysh side do find themselves down. Reviews is the man who is going to have to try and give that revival to Crypto as well, because Crypto is slowly and surely going to try and get into the zone. But as he does so get into the compound, it will be the other side of Quraysh Esports, as there is a third party that has been showcased, and it is none other than ZARAR, who seems to have gotten a kill against Quraysh's player.
Indeed it is going to be, but in all these fights it was certainly for the moment that NFP Sky was just trying to pin down both the teams, both the players. A grenade comes in from the side of Reviews, and that has certainly taken down two players. Dubai goes down, Mani goes down, and it is again Adi the lone man surviving, and this time it seems that IAT Esports won't be giving any second thought, rather just go for a push, go for a slam in and completely flush out the player, and then try to take the revenge against NFP Sky Esports player. Haseen is the one that is pretty much close to where IAT players are surviving, but in all these fights it was certainly NFP Sky Esports that was trying to dent in their own way, but that grenade certainly did it for IAT Esports, with Crypto and Review still surviving. 5 kills is where they are at this moment, and moving on to some different fight. Now we have Team Star that are trying to challenge Modified onto a single compound, which they are taking for a long time, but Team Star has to be cautious because they can get some shots, because we can get to see Team UNB in a different sort of vicinity, and if that gets caught, they start to actually observe all these pixels of these players, this can be really a big dent to them.
Well, this could very well be the case. On the other front, it is going to be Team QWERTY at the receiving end, thanks to UNB's performance that has been bringing that team down. On the other front, as we were just talking about Team Sky seems to have found the players of Ivy, and as Ivy tried to make that rotation, that late rotation has certainly not worked in that favor, because Team Sky are the one that have been better off in that conversation, and in that they are going to be finding themselves in the open as this team of Team Sky. It is going to be Kian right here on our screens trying to bring down Crypto, but eventually Crypto is just going to get himself rushed into the water itself. What a zone this has turned out to be. Quite a lot of teams who find themselves out in the open. This is not looking good for Team QWERTY as well, as we were just mentioning. UNB has gotten the better half of that, and ZARAR also chiming it along against the players of Team Sky. This has turned into an all-out slaughterhouse in this open area.
Crypto brought that knock from that water area, and then he just revealed his location, and that faltered on. But we're going down. He brought one knock, and then now it is the time when Review's location has been revealed, because everyone just saw Reviews finding himself in the water areas, but for how long he would survive, that is going to be the one big question. But one thing that can eventually help him is that he can see through the surface of the water where the player is actually positioned, and just wait Team Sky to get hold of all these fights and try to just not let all those attention get scattered towards its same area. But now it's the time where Team Sky need to make a move into the zone. 105 meters what they need to travel. With a 2-2 split, it is going to be one good chance. Yesterday's game of Erangel, the opener of region finals, it was Team Sky trying to dominate, and they are also now trying to dominate. But the question is, how are they going to be making a move into the zone? Because it's 1 meter obviously for Kian, but for the rest of teammates it's going to be somewhere down the line, 100 or so. But the question still remains, there are a lot of teams on the south, west, eastern side. We got to see freestyles, we got to see some other teams into the same frame, and in that doing so they might just falter down, as now Kathir is just trying to dominate onto the players of ZARAR, and now they are falling down full instantly with a spray, splendid spray coming in from the side of Kathir. They are now looking good, but sadly Halsey has fallen down.
Well, with Bonga remaining from the side of ZARAR, he's going to be giving himself the information, and he's going to be jumping out of the area. As he does from the smoke, he will be caught, and it is Kathir who will get that kill for himself. Sadly, Halsey has gone down, but what a play from the side of Team Sky. In just a matter of few minutes, they've been able to to confirm so many kills for themselves, so many points for themselves, but now they have to get into the zone, and Freestyle is the one who's trying to reign in supreme and not allow the side to get into the arena. On the other front, we also did see Ivy in the kill feed trying to stop the players of Team Sky's rotation as well, and in that, this has been quite a slaughterhouse again is what this has turned out to be, because we can see so many colors in the mini map and they have so many knocks confirmed, where indeed it is going to be North Esports as well chiming in against the players of Modified. Portly Esports also coming in along, and this has turned into a 12-team remaining affair. 21 minutes is where we are at, where I8 the player finally gets himself a kill as well.
Reviews, I mean, high IQ gameplay coming in from his side. They find themselves under the water. He's certainly not a fish, but certainly making it happen at this moment. And with one more knock getting in, I told you, brother, it's the right time where they will trying to strike them down. And since NFP Sky Sports were completely pinned down, firstly by FS and then now by teams like from different direction, it was Reviews at the right point, at the right moment, struck the right blow, and that resulted in him getting a lot of points. But still, teams Freestyle is looking splendid at this moment, as now teams are making a move from the southeastern side. 3 players are still alive and they're finding themselves in prone position. Plays on is taking care of a lot of players. We talk about IV's KSF. He's going down slowly and steadily, but Dr. Fate is still out there. He needs to go there, make the revival. But in all these things, it will be a sad end for I8 Esports, as now they goes down. But all of a sudden, it is going to be 52 rage. All the 4 players are standing, and now they are taking a charge, taking a toll onto the players of Freestyles.
Well, as soon as IV's final player, Dr. Fate, tried to get into the zone, he will not be allowed to do so. It is not looking easy for these teams, because they find themselves out in the open, and the information that they've given away to their opponents is certainly bringing in, if not their opponent, but the third-party situation that has given away the kills. And what a play this has turned out to be on the first game of day number 2 itself in PMCO Pakistan region, where all the teams are certainly trying to dominate and bring in those perfect kills for themselves. But this is absolute chaos. I mean, there are so many angles to try and cover. This is not going to be an easy fight for Modified's bullet right there, where the tree is certainly favoring him, but for how long? Because when it comes to the zone is still further out, and it is going to be 52x Rage who find themselves at the edge, absolutely gatekeeping the situation against so many teams. Portly Esports certainly have that small little shack working in their favor, along with the smoke that they're slowly moving across through. But this seems like the perfect approach from Karyo, who is going to be just perfectly nading through the smoke, and this could be a very big damage to the players of Portly Esports.
Still not enough to bring one damage, but now UAG are on the charges. Now they're making the charge on the player of 52 Rage. Fazil goes down, and this was the one guy that really made it possible for 52 Rage. Indeed, in the last game itself, but it seemed that all of a sudden there is a big demise, as now one player has been eliminated, with Murtaza and Hamzi and Cairo still holding the compound. One grenade can do the business, can do the job for them, but for the moment it's going to be rest of the lobby that has also made a rotation, and all of a sudden it's not just only 52 Rage that are finding themselves into zone, but rather it is going to be UAG slowly and steadily. Modified are also making a push, and in all these situations 52 Rage at least need to shun one of the teams down, else it will be a third party or the sandwich situation, and they can be really in that predicament.
Well, UNB right here, given that revival certainly is going to be helping them, because they will have the numbers advantage. But as soon as he gets that done, it is going to be another player of the team that will be brought on down, and it is going to be none other than Wolverine from the side of QWERTY, who is bringing in that onslaught. But because he's the only man going to be jumping into the area out in the open, will be caught, and UNB will still be able to get their team absolutely revived. And all of this is going on. We've got 7 teams remaining. Absolute chaos that has been going on since the past 10 minutes, which has resulted in so many teams getting different amount of kills for themselves. Team Star right here through the smoke, they are going to be trying to get the information against the players of FS, but FS themselves are not looking too good and easy, because it is looking like they themselves have been caught off, and as they find themselves at the edge of the zone, the information has been given away, and Lozo right here is going to just absolutely try and decimate the competition. In doing so, will be able to get a kill. That is going to be Zyro, his teammate, who will get the kill. But what a play this is turning into, because these teams are looking really phenomenal. Team Star looking really good in terms of the way that they find themselves in the zone, but along with that there are other teams as well. This is the 6th zone, 45 seconds before the Blues engulf them all.
Team Star holding the edge of the circle. All the 4 players are alive. Fury is pretty much down onto his health, but he needs to make sure that he patches himself before he is being hounded and peppered by a lot of players from different directions. But Freestyle, one player is still alive, and I'll be interested to see what sort of placement points he'll be able to bring. But Murtaza goes down, as now Avenger strikes a big blow onto him, as now it is going to be tough chance, tough luck for 52 Rage, as Hamzi and Cairo still surviving. I'm just not able to understand why aren't they go for an aggressive push, why aren't they going for a charge. This was the one big team team, one good team before taking down. It was UAG that really made it happen for themselves. The grenade comes in, the onslaught comes in, the M-Force comes in, and there we go. Now it's the time that now the teams are trying to dominate onto the western side where Team Star are being completely pinched down. But before he tries to pinch them down, it is going to be third-party situation where Malik brings one more kill to the team.
What a play from the side of FS Malik indeed, because this team has 5 kills for themselves, and of course FS Malik being the final player surviving in the top 5 teams remaining, we are going to be looking at Malik trying to get working towards the placement point itself, but not before he gets that one more kill confirmed for himself. 5 teams, as I said, are remaining. UF, TUF are the ones on our screen who will have been able to confirm, well, 5 kills for themselves already with 3-man army. This team is absolutely trying to pinch down the modified team, and because there's only Bullet and Amish who are in that small little area, will not be allowed to stay alive for long, because this team of TUF is such a behemoth, such a monster in the way they push and create those rushes, and in doing so, they have been just in a matter of seconds able to convert 7 kills for themselves and also eliminate their opponent, which was modified in that vicinity. With that, we've got 4 teams remaining. TUF looking really confident. Star are trying their level best to survive for as long as they can, but FS Malik, we can see, is still not done from the fight. He is still bringing in an onslaught with those nade parades against the players of Star, and eventually, of course, if things work out for him, he should be able to get those 2 kills confirmed as well, because it is Zyro who has already been knocked, and Zyro needs a revival. If FS Malik decides to just keep a push and retaliate against the position of Team Star, he can very well get the kills, but he has to be careful, because as soon as he does, what a play, what a play. Nade parade being showcased from Malik will result in him getting 5 kills, his team getting 7 kills, and the nade parade is still not yet done, because now it has moved on towards North Esports, and North Esports, Gosta, along with Daku, the 2 players who are remaining from the side of NES, are going to try and absolutely pincer down the placement of TUF. But TUF have the compound working for themselves, but not for long, because all these teams are not going to have to get into the open.
But it seems that the Avenger has got a better half of them, as now Daku has been eliminated and Ghosta still remains from their side. And now Virus is holding a different angle, and that can help him getting a lot of points. It's what a high fracking gameplay itself for the team of UAG, with a total of 10 kill is what they are at this moment, and Ghosta still finding himself in the open position. Not a single kill point is what has been awarded to North Esports. Can they be able to at least take 1 kill before they make an exit to lobby, because there's not much of left for Ghosta and also for North Esports, but certainly this team is going to be taking that important 10 placement point for sure. But now they are on charge. It is UAGxTUF that are on a charge, with Avenger leading the charge. 3 kill is what he was able to secure, and still at the 3, 8 is total what the kill has the number of the team, but FS Malik is still surviving. He has brought 3 kills in this last 5 minutes or so, eliminating one big team that was certainly of Team Star, that was really looking phenomenal at this moment, and it was North Esports Daku that's been spotted on, and now Playzone takes care of Ghosta as he has been eliminated, and now it's a 3v1 affair going against to Malik. Malik still making sure, still using every sort of utilities, and he is up for the last resort, but one grenade from the sides of Thor will do a detrimental amount of damage, followed by one Molotov, and this is going to be an easy task for them as Malik falls down, as Avenger gets 1 more kill and a chicken for the sides of UAGxTUF. We talked about all these teams that are now started to make a comeback from the second half of the chart, and this is the one moment that they live for. Total of 9 kills, 3092 damage, and as just perfectly mentioned, that compound really worked for them.
That certainly did. I mean, TUF, Edgar and the likes, they were just so very good in the way they played that game, the way that they were so ferocious, and also remaining as a team together with all 4 players alive. A phenomenal turn of events where they do find themselves on the 8th spot with 9 kills, 1392 damage is what this team was able to dish out, with 24 points is what they walk out of this first game on day number 2 of PMCO. Along with that, a huge big kudos to FS Malik. I mean, the dude, we were talking about it, FS Malik. Yesterday also, he was the man who was surviving from the side of FS in those final few moments of the circle and was able to walk away with those placement points. This time around, the team not only walked away with placement points, but also that nade parade that FS Malik was on resulted in him and his team walking away with 7 kills. So a GG play for the side of Freestyle. But of course, that's just the start of the journey. There is a long ladder to climb. But with that, let's have a look at the MVP, the most valuable player coming in from this game, and that is going to be none other than Malik indeed, with 5 kills, 2 assists that he was a part of, 758 damage dished out throughout the entire process. There was a lot of healing done, but that's absolutely fine as long as you get those kills. And in that, it was the nade parade that he was against the players of, that he used against the players of Team Star that absolutely pincered down Gyro and his teammate.
I mean, Team Star didn't get a second opportunity. One grenade was lobbed in. There was stun, I guess, at the start of that use of throwables, and then it was just one grenade landing right there at the spot. Didn't get even at 1 second of time for Team Star to move an inch even to left or right, and that's resulting them completely thrown away from the lobby. And in that point, it was Malik that was completely blooming in that last position itself. He was just trying to do that 1v3. He was using all the utilities. It was just the numbers advantage that was not favoring him, and also the zone and no sort of cover was. It was just the one tree trunk, but the blue was also approaching. But what a game by FS itself. And Malik, we talk about him, but UAGxTUF, I mean, this was a tough performance for their side. They really make it look possible. But NFP Sky, I mean, Ash, this is also one good guy, I mean, that really find himself in all these fights. We talk about the third party situation. It was I8 between I8 and one more team that was taking care of, and then it was NFP that was just giving that backstabs, and that resulted in a lot of players getting eliminated. And then it was also again between NFP and I8, where obviously Crypto was eliminated as soon as he found himself in the Oceanic region.
Well. On the front of the match ranking, we do have TUF walking away with 24 points from this game, 9 kills in total, 15 of course the placement points from the chicken dinner, alongside which we also do have Freestyle bringing in the 7 kill, and the second place holder is what they were, thanks to FS Malik. There you have 19 points to them, followed in closely with the 13 point, that is going to be Team Star. So an interesting play being showcased from so many of these teams. But on the other front, when it comes down to QWERTY Esports, they were the ones reigning in supreme on top of that leaderboard. They still will be because of the lead that they've been able to create, but this time around they were not allowed to get into the fight whatsoever at all as they made that rotation. On the other front, Team QWERTY needs to do better. They've got just that one placement point, and the opportunities from them are running away.
Also QWERTY, I mean, this was one big upset. I really didn't expect this to happen, but certainly the teams that were looking not good in their series of gameplay have now started making a comeback. And now talking about the comebacks, the moments, we have the Oppo F19 Pro moments for you, as we'll rehashing and recapping all the moments that we just witnessed in this fantastic game of Erangel. And what a start it was when we got to see I8 head-to-head against, obviously, the team was of Quraysh Esports, with a player down, there was falling down slowly and steadily, and then it was NFP that was chiming in one by one. It was Reviews that anyhow survived in that onslaught, and then it was him getting revived all the players. It was not all, but it was just the Crypto, because the rest of the players were taken away, and then it was charging with both the players coming in. It was an impossible task for Quraysh to survive that onslaught.
Absolutely, and this is where Team Sky were caught off guard against the players of UNB. From one side it was Malik, the other side, not Malik, sorry, it was the side of I8, I believe, and on the other front it was UNB who was able to just completely pinch it down. And this is when we saw the player of course, UNB try and maximize the position that he was finding himself in, and in doing so was able to get a few points for themselves, not before long, because he was also pincered down and was sent back to the lobby. I mean, there was a lot of chaos during all of this fight. It was the 7th circle, we still had so many teams surviving, and again in the open it was just third parties all the way through. And this is when the fights started to convert, because TUF took the reins of the charge and was certainly absolutely trying to dominate against the entirety of the teams that did remain, and the compound that they held certainly worked in their favor, because they had the cover of it. That resulted in the team having a lot of fights, and of course through the safety of the compound. With that, we move on to the total damage that was dealt throughout this entire saga. We've got TUF right there with 9 kills, 1392 damage, but the entire bar is being dominated by UNB's players with 1850 damage with 8 kills. So a dominating force that is being showcased from all of these teams. We can see Team QWERTY right there as well, right next to 52x Rage with 216 damage that they were part of, but sadly no kill was confirmed for them. Again, the same sort of a conversation for the team of Blue right there, QWERTY Esports with 243 damage, but sadly once again no kill. But that's not really going to be haunting them much, because the lead that they've created in the overall is going to be helping them. But if that sort of a performance continues, which is not going to happen because that's QWERTY Esports, but if at all that sort of performance continues throughout the day, then it is going to be other teams that are going to be catching up to them.
That is certainly going to be the case. As now we talked about catching up, it is going to be Freestyles that are slowly and steadily moving up with 49 total points after the end of game 5, with just 1 point shy away, and what IAT Esports are there, and they have made that half-century markup, and all the three teams in the top 4 don't have any chicken apart from IAT Esports that they got in the game of Miramar in yesterday's gameplay. But certainly the kill number is where they are dominating. But QWERTY Esports, as soon as they played the 5th game, is where they have 35 kills for the moment, and then we got to see 3 reds. That means Grounders, UNB and Team Sky has got 111 rank dip in their favor. And then we talk about the second half of the chart, where pretty much the same apart from Team Star that has risen up, and that has resulted Quraysh, Portal, QWERTY, IB, ZARAR to go down 1-1-1-1-1 placement points down.
Well, what a play this has turned out to be. But this is just the first game of the day, of course. That was taken care of. Now we've got 3 more games remaining. This is going to be an exhilarating ride, because you talk about the points are so very close for these teams, and every single game that we will be playing, that will be played today, will have that overall ranking just go all across the place, and that is good. That is exactly why we are here. That is exactly why you are here as well, to be able to see this sort of a dominating force being showcased against the entirety of the lobby itself. With that, first game done, we're going to go on a short little break, after which, of course, will be Miramar coming right up.
Here we go now.
Are you keeping it real? I'm calling shotgun, wanna see my baby run. Oh, what's the word on the sea? Kicking up the dust, if you know what I mean. We got a good thing going. We got a good thing going on.
Welcome once again to, of course, PMCO PUBG Mobile Club Open of the Pakistan region. A huge thanks to Oppo F19 Pro, hashtag Wook Up Your Fun. This is day number 2. We've got one game taken care of. That was, of course, on Erangel. Now, as the schedule will be brought on to the screens, we'll move on to Miramar. And this time around, Ankit, what do you anticipate? What team? I mean, once again?
Maybe because it was the last game, it was them not getting that good hold of it. They were not looking sublime, and since it was yesterday gameplay, again we cannot expect the same sort of dominance. I mean, 22 kills is not a joke, and at any certain age you just cannot emulate. But certainly I want now one team, 52 Rage, along with IAT. You just talked about this,
right?
52 Rage, even after this gameplay that ended of Erangel, there's still not enough for them, still not enough in the tank to get away from the 16th position, as now the games are running away. After the game of today's gameplay, it will just the 50% of what the total 16 gameplay will play, and then it will be an impossible task for them to get there at the top, because at the end we know the prize pools are obviously there, but that one slot for PMPL, I guess 52 Rage must be eyeing for that.
Well, they most certainly will be. There's no two ways about it. But in that entire conversation, another team that I am hoping will be bringing in another dominating force is going to be, well, none other than QWERTY Esports, because they need to, because they have to. Otherwise, the team that is right below them is, well, catching up. They are on 58 points. That's going to be quite a close affair. With that, let's jump right into the second game of the day, with the flight path on our screens going all the way from the southern part of Los Hiogos and goes up towards the side of Torre Ahmed. So again, when it comes to the drop locations itself, El Pozo and the likes, which is basically going to be towards the western front, are going to be a little tricky for the teams to be able to get themselves acclimated down towards. But overall, a pretty neat flight path that is going to be allowing a lot of comfortable drops that we've seen these teams go on towards. But yeah, once again, El Pozo is certainly going to be a little bit of a problem for a select team.
That will certainly be the case. In yesterday gameplay, the flight path completely dominated on the eastern side, and El Azhar was out of glide, and that found themselves in a lot of teams that were not able to go to the same area. And this time, since El Azhar is still in the flow, we might expect some sort of drop contestation or clash, but that is just one thing that we have to still wait and see. But for the moment, Los Leones might be the city of contestation, as now 3 to 4 colored parachutes are moving towards the same area, and certain teams might we have seen in the past, loves to go towards the area of Puerto Palacio. That certainly is a case that cannot be ridiculed out, and it seems that yes, Team Stars might be moving away, but it seems that now the parachutes are still, now they have stopped, and they might be finding themselves in the area of Los Leones with 3 teams. Obviously I8, the history repeats itself. The history has said I8 is the one team that really loves to go to either of Los Leones, and then we have Northeast Sports, and then we have Team Star. But in all these things, we have got some sort of northern shift circle where El Pozo is certainly was not under the glide, and certainly just the 2-3 compounds is on the edge of the circle. So the flight path is certainly favoring them, all the teams, but QWERTY, this is one again good game rotation. What I expect by the looks of it, they might take the NH closer to where Montonovo is, and they might just make an entry from the extreme western side, getting the complete control of all those crater fields, high ridges advantage. And just imagine if the circle makes a western shift, again it will be QWERTY. And we have seen in the past what sort of dominance QWERTY Bablu makes whenever we get to see the game of Miramar.
Oh yes, we certainly have. But in that same area south of Toro is going to be Quraysh along with PES, and that is exactly where the observers are going to be landing us too as well, because this team, well rather both these teams, find themselves in the vicinity of each other, and the fights have already started taking place where Quraysh are the ones who are at the receiving end, and it is going to be PES, that is Portal Esports, who will try and get this fight for themselves. But right now it is going to be a baby who is not looking too good, because he has been caught into a bit of a tricky situation, because there is no way he can get himself away from there. The only thing that is possible for him is if his teammates are able to help him out. Now this push coming in from Bilal, this needs to be really careful, because he's making that in the open. But as soon as he does so, what a play, because his teammate from the side of Quraysh Esports is going to be certainly coming in to give that cover. And of course, the first blood has been drawn from the side of Quraysh Esports, and it is Adi OP looking phenomenal and ferocious. What a play, what a start to the day on this Miramar map it has turned out to be. Portal Esports sadly would have loved to have portaled out of there, but again, the game does not allow you to do that, mate. It's just not the kind of play that they anticipated, but that is what they find themselves in, and they have been brought down to a 3-man squad where Quraysh Esports off to a good start.
Indeed it is. I'm not surprised completely, because yesterday's Miramar itself, the team got that 12 placement points, and then it was an all easy affair for them to get a huge chunk of total points. And at the start of the game, we found themselves closer towards the 7th, 8th position, where the head-to-head between them and freestyles were made. And since it's again Miramar, a start that we're looking for, they are in sort of circles, because they are into this circle lines, and it is going to be an easy task for them, as now Portal Esports, they are looking completely unsettled at this moment, with all the 3-4 players holding on to different direction. Is just the momentum that we are getting to spot down. But as soon as Quraysh Esports will be moving towards the same area, it is going to be a Cruisdale Valley that we got to see. But La Cobreria is certainly being occupied by Ivy, but some certain fights is also erupting with El Hazard, as we're getting to see 52 Rage up against to the players of ZARAR Esports.
Well, talk about that along with Los Leones. The city is surrounded with 2 teams. That is going to be NES as well as I8. Now, North Esports and I8 have an interesting play to showcase over there, but it seems like I8 are going to be first trying to get into the comfort of the zone altogether itself, and that same exact is the conversation that Modified are having within themselves as they move on from the southern region of the zone towards Picado itself. But as they do so, it is going to be another team in the vicinity of that area, and that team is the one that is south of Picado. We can see on our screens that is in the blue. I do not see the name, but we do know that a fight can be expected in that area as well. And talking about another team that is going to be absolutely comfortable for now, or not, is going to be towards El Hazar, because it is 52x Rage, a team that we were keeping an, or rather wanting to keep an eye out towards. They are going to be finding themselves in the close vicinity of ZARAR, and ZARAR do not shy away from the fights, is what we've seen. ZARAR Esports, every single time they are there, they are going to try and retaliate. PES not looking too good, because it is Momtu who has been knocked for the moment. This is not the play that Portal Esports were trying to create and make, and this is the result of a sad drop, is what it has turned out to be for PES.
Not a wise option, not certainly a wise option, because certainly all the 5 games that has passed by in the regional finals has not gone in the favor, and they couldn't have fought, but certainly they really need to come out of all these predicaments, as now Bilal has struck down to Momtu, and Momtu has gone down, but Faster has again got down from the side to 52 rages. Now ZARAR are on a charge, and they are trying to retaliate in fashion, as now Faster has gone down. He needs the revival, he needs the important revival, but does he have enough of it to get closer to what he needs to secure with the Rage Esports, just making sure that the kill doesn't get secure. Sirius is being get with a serious amount of damage, but still finding himself in that prone position at the top of that cliff. But ZARAR Esports are in a big split. One player completely getting the top half of that cliff, and 3 players on the backhand side of Hamzi. Hamzi needs to make sure that he has enough of bullet, because he is on the random fire. He is giving some random fires onto the players, and he doesn't have the best of the best loot, just the level 1 helmet, level 1 vest. Even 1 or 2 tap shots can bring him to 40-50 HP, and that can unsettle the players at any moment. But Sirius position is certainly, now it is not anonymous, it is known, but that is certainly helping the code for the moment. It is going to be Hamzi that is on a charge, just trying to make some sort of rotation, and in a desperation move, Faster will be saved. Will he be? Will he be not? It seems that yes, he will be.
Wow. That is called teammate. That is called a teammate. He's just rushing out in the open to get that teammate revived, and in doing so, he has of course given away the information as well. But for now, it is going to be ZARAR Esports' Cronus who's going to be trying to jump into the arena, and as soon as he does so, it is going to be his Thompson who will have to do the talking, because when it comes to the players of, well, 52x Rage, they are well equipped and prepped, but it seems like Faster is going to be preparing a nade against the player. But what a play this has turned out to be from the side of Cronus, and he has just completely dominated as he pushed on along to take that kill for themselves. And ZARAR Esports absolutely pincer down the rotation that 52x were trying to make, but in doing so, it is not only Hamzi, well, Hamzi will lose his life, so will his teammate, and this is not looking good. Faster finding himself exactly in the predicament that he was a few minutes ago, but now he has also lost himself as well as his teammate. So 52x Rage not off to a good start in the first 7.5, 8-minute marker. They've lost 2 of their players. Yes, it was commendable approach coming in from the side of his teammate, but that has resulted in absolutely nowhere. And ZARAR's player Sirius right here, going to be making a Superman jump, but as soon as he does so, 52x Rage will be bringing in a little bit of a rivalry and a revenge, and it is going to be Cairo who will try and get that kill confirmed with his Scarl. But will he be able to do so? He's got a mini, he's got a Scarl, but does he have the... Well, does he have what it takes to bring that kill for himself? Because it is going to be ZARAR's players who are going to be trying to jump into the arena to get that player revived as well. And it seems like ZARAR's Cronus is going to be absolutely getting himself into the crossfire. But it is going to be a nade parade and not the crossfire that Cairo is going to be focusing on, because of course he knows that as soon as he overextends, the team of ZARAR is going to be pincering him down. And what a spray that was from the teammates of ZARAR. 2 players that were absolutely abysmal in terms of the way that they were able to dominate against Cairo's positioning. In doing so, of course, his level 3 helmet has helped him a lot, but now the players of ZARAR have been given the revival, and Cronus is going to be trying to push on alongside this one-man army that 52x's Cairo is turning out to be. But will that be enough, mate? No, it will certainly not. You did have a level 3 kit and whatnot, but it is not going to help you against the onslaught of ZARAR Esports, as Cronus as well as Sirius just completely bring that domination to his face. And what a play ZARAR Esports is showcasing in just the first few minutes of this game itself. With that, this team of ZARAR Esports find themselves 1,000 meters away from the comfort of the zone.
1,000 meters away, but Murtaza has certainly relinquished and abandoned the rest of teammates as they just fall down slowly and steadily. A wise move certainly from the sides of Murtaza, but not from the sides of the three players that really try to take the fight. It was serious eventually from the sides of ZARAR that really initiated that X factor, that flank angle that certainly helped them, and now they have got the 3 kills, they have the start, and Murtaza still susceptible because we can still see the triangle is certainly moving and inching towards where the green marker of ZARAR Esports are actually positioned, and it seems that Murtaza doesn't have any sort of idea that what sort of plan he needs to make, but he needs to make sure that he gets the important points. But for the moment, I mean, we have seen a lot of fights that was erupting on the west eastern front, and now we might get to see as now Clarity all of a sudden are finding themselves not in the center line of the circle, but trying to control the water treatment northern side of all those ridges, with all the 4 players finding in the same vicinity. It was also Eevee, but before Eevee moved, it was Clarity started looting all these areas of Varadilmar, and then they went with that quick rotation. And talking about the rotation, we got to see a lot of team rotating, but it seems that the airdrop number 1 that is offering will be that of the Marksman 14 rifle, and no teams is in the same vicinity. UAGxTUF on the different tangent are certainly punishing the players of Team Star, as one player has fallen down. Loser has also been fallen down in his Ronnie drop, and some players are being just hounded. They're just not stopping with all those 4x and 6 of those. The 556 brilliants are just getting, but still not enough to take them down. But they will make sure that they will be paralyzing their movement.
They most certainly will be. They most certainly are going to be trying to paralyze their teammate, or rather their opponent team, and not allow them to get into the zone itself. This is quite an interesting play that is being showcased from UAGxTUF, because they need to get 800 meters to get into the zone itself, as the blue has engulfed them. An interesting play that they are showcasing, because they do not want to lose this fight. They've got a 3-man army right here. They've got that 1 kill confirmed for themselves, and that is going to be Zamin, who's been able to get that kill confirmed. But Team Star are not going to be allowed to move away from this situation without a fight, and that is what UAGxTUF is bringing themselves towards. 1,000 meter away is what this team needs to cover, but they are still not confirmed. They are still not making that sort of a rotation for themselves, and finally it seems like they've decided to do so, and that is a good spot, but not before they get the kill. What a play. Finally, it is going to be the side of Zamin who gets the kill confirmed, and this is an interesting turn of events where sadly for the team of Star, well, they are going to have to get that revival or decide to just leave the player and get into the zone themselves. Just a 2-man army is what Star is left with. On the other front, for UAGxTUF, this is looking pretty neat. But Team Star are on the... well, they're trying, but it's it's going to be a tough situation for this team, because again, they do want to be able to get that health taken care of, but UAGxTUF is certainly not going to allow them to do so if at all they decide to just rotate exactly towards the rotation that UAGxTUF is making. So UAGxTUF is certainly keeping a check off those flank angles, as well as we can see on the minimap. We could see that they had created a triangle as they were making that rotation, and that is a GG play from NES. But on the other front of the map altogether itself, we do have the side of TUF, who find themselves in a fight, in a first fight. It is going to be none other than TUF's Avenger right here, who has been able to get a kill confirmed, and what a perfect start for the side of TUF in this game as well.
Indeed, a perfect start that he looked for. In the same sort of Erangel, we saw some same sort of start, and that resulted themselves not only the start, they ended pretty well. They got a lot of kills and eventually those important placement points. But is it going to be the same thing? We have to still wait for that, because there are a lot of changes. We are not playing the same matches. We're not taking the same matches. It is the desert action that is obviously going to be of the Miramar. But as soon as they try to make a move into the circle, it will be UNB that might try to gatekeep the situation, because Hasana Del Petro and all those ridges are in complete control of UNB, and the players, it seemed that as soon as they try to make a move, but the looks of it, it seemed that now Edgar, with along his teammates from the side of UAGxTUF, might be trying to make a different sort of move from different direction. But Clarity Esports really do have a good chance in order to try to gatekeep the situation. For two teams, obviously one team is now making a move slowly and steadily, but still nobody is just trying to engage in the fight. With Portal Esports insane, the last player surviving, he is doing one good thing, that he's just not over aggressing, losing 1-1 player at the very initial stage of the game. That doesn't left him just try and go for those placement points. But Team Sky, again, this banter never ends. We talk about the Erangel, Sanhok, Miramar, it just goes on and on and on. Both the teams are just trying to go for the parallel rotation, and in that, it seems that Team Sky is getting the better half of Clarity. knock is possible, but certainly the kill is not going to be the case.
Well, for now, that certainly is looking like to be the case indeed, where it is going to be the side of Team Sky's Ash, who has been able to pincer down the rotation coming in from the side of Clarity. But when it comes down to kill itself, as so perfectly mentioned by Ankit, that will not be confirmed because of the way that that ridge has been created in favor of Clarity Esports indeed. On the other front of the game itself, we are going to be looking at this fight getting closer and closer because this is the third zone, 15 minutes into the game, and 52x Rage is the team to get eliminated on the 16th spot. With that, talk about Portal Esports with just a one-man army trying to survive their level best, but for how long we shall have to see. On the other front of the game altogether, this team of Team Sky is just absolutely trying to pincer down the placement of Clarity, and of course they have the information now. All they want is to completely annihilate the play. It seems like Wolf was taking a different fight altogether as well, and it is going to be the conversation for Clarity because it seems like they've got the ridge advantage. Yes, they've got the ground advantage, the upper ground advantage, and that is going to be giving them a lot of information. It seems like Ivy is the one that is going to be in the eyes of the side of Clarity Esports.
Clarity was never interested in trying to take the fight against NFP Sky. Rather, they know that what sort of advantage, what sort of significance that can be brought in if they try to take the fight against Ivy. And that is certainly what a good team and a not an experienced team is what get differentiated. With Dr. Fate and Abdul going down, it is going to be a tough chance for Team Ivy to survive. And the other player, they're still not in the same vicinity. It seems that even if the player tried to make a move towards this closer area, it is going to be lost case, as now slowly and steadily the players are getting bleeded off or they are being finished for sure. But they need to make sure that it is going to be NFP Sky that is completely pinned down. If this sort of approach comes, it is going to be Khatir with a complete flank angle, and now Zibyan seems that now they're trying to get the interest back along with the fight against NFP Sky.
Well. What a play. What a play. Clarity has been able to convert the 2 kills for themselves. They've been able to keep all their 4 players on toes and still moving on along. But now they're going to have to make a rotation. And as they make that rotation, Team Sky is going to be eagerly waiting. Team Sky is going to be so very well prepped and ready for that rotation from the side of Clarity. But will it be possible? Because again, when it comes down to Team Sky itself, we have to see that rotation from them. They are not in the comfort of the zone. And that is exactly what this team is deciding to do. Ash has already found himself at the edge of the zone. It is going to be his other teammates who are slowly going to be getting into the vehicle as well and try and get into the comfort of the zone as well. That will be the main priority. On the other front, you talk about Portal Esports is insane. He is onto the ridges as well, very close to the proximity of Clarity, and is slowly on his toes, pushing on along and walking on along and running on to get into the zone itself towards the water treatment. Through the water treatment northern front, towards the zone itself, we have UNB at the receiving end, where the grounders are taking on a lot of fight. It is Sensei who has been brought on down to his knees, but on the other front, as we just talked about it, UNB are also taking on a lot of fight. But seems like Clarity now is going to be trying to decimate the rotation coming in from the side of Team Sky, and what a play this has turned out to be, where of course it is going to be a kill confirmed because Kian has been brought out in the open. Caught out in the open. It is going to be 420 boys. Perfect spray. Perfect tap damage brought in from the mini that will be resulting in him confirming the kill against Team Sky. And that is going to be the end of pretty much so many of the players from Team Sky. Ash has been brought down to his knees as well. So not looking too good. But Portal Esports' final player, insane. As he was trying to get into the comfort of the zone. Just a few meters away, his position has been revealed, and Clarity will be dominating against them.
Clarity is certainly dominating for the win, but on the receiving end this time it is going to be Northeast. But now ZARAR is trying to make a move. As soon as the Northeast Esports complete squad was trying to make a move from the northeastern side, it was ZARAR Esports that were trying to create a big flank angle from this ridge, and they were trying to control, and that has resulted in them getting a lot of knock, and 5 defeat is what they are standing at this moment. Slowly and steadily they will be moving, but all of a sudden it is going to be Ghost Star that has been completely reduced from the sides of Northeast Esports, the last player surviving, and that has resulted not in obviously going to be falling for Northeast Esports but also for NFP Sky Esports, as now Cronus is just getting all those loot segregated with the Quraysh Esports in the closer vicinity. It is going to be a tough task for them because it is QWERTY that is holding the center line of the circle, but the riches that are in the control of ZARAR Esports, as long as the circle is favoring them, it is certainly going to be an advantageous situation with all the 4 players alive. ZARAR Esports are just looking impeccably good with Clarity also in the move on a move. They are and must be having to have a take a fight against ZARAR Esports. If that happens, I'll really waiting and love to see what sort of approach that can come in. But certainly water treatment is where ZARAR Esports are positioned with the center lines held by obviously Team QWERTY, all the 4 players are looking phenomenally good, but Quraysh Esports, I mean, we talked about this team in the closer proximity. They too have an eye above ZARAR Esports, and when the circle goes for a shift, it will be ZARAR that has to come down towards the dip, and it will be then maybe a tough situation for them by Quraysh Esports. As now Dubai, Money, Bilal and ADIOP, all 4 have their eyes set upon, and circle has gone for a shift. 113 meter is for Quraysh Esports, and I guess more than 150 is for ZARAR, but both the teams have to move successively.
Absolutely, they will have to, and before they do so, it seems like Quraysh Esports want to be able to confirm a few kills for themselves. They've got the 2 points, but in the kill feed, we are looking at Clarity bringing in some domination from 420 boy. He is just absolutely in control of so many contestations and so many fights by himself. Is looking absolutely abysmal performance from the side of that dude. But of course, on the other front, we did just talk about Quraysh Esports. This team needs to make that preparation to get into the zone itself. They have this water treatment plant, but for now, they're going to have to leave it and get into the zone, and as they do so, they will be in the open, and that is when things can get tricky, because it is going to be Clarity Esports' players who are reigning in supreme, and this rotation that Quraysh needs to make, they are going to have to utilize a lot of utilities or vehicles to get into the comfort, and that again is not going to be an easy task, because from one side is going to be ZARAR, behind them, in front of them is going to be Clarity, and that finds this team into a bit of a sticky situation, into a sandwich situation. On the other front, i8 Esports seem to have found the players of UNB, and Molotov after grenade, this team is just absolutely ready to annihilate UNB and have been able to bring in a lot of knock, and Yuzum right here, who is just bringing in those onslaught with the name of those nades, is going to try and push on eventually with his teammate Reviews also chiming in, will be perfectly spraying down the players of UNB, and this is where UNB is left with just that one player. All the others have been knocked and brought down to their knees. Incredible play being showcased, but as soon as Reviews try to do that, it is going to be not an easy conversation for him to have, because i8 also bring that fight against him.
It's gonna be Evie that is really making it pay, but soon as he tried to pull the players down, it is gonna be his players from sides of IB that are now falling down slowly, and still with Malin going down, everything is just turning into turmoil, and now i8 Esports really need to regroup as soon as that is possible. Crypto will be finding himself with 100 HP, and Reviews has given the revival. With Blade getting away from this match, it's still the team that is making pay. IB Esports, it seems that there might be a demise for themselves, as now domination mode is where Crypto is standing with 3 kills. They are trying to dominate onto the southern side, just not allowing any team to bloom in the same vicinity. The Grenadier Tigers where Zixo is standing, because they are also trying to pin them down, but FS, they are just not stopping, with Clarity also trying to pin down the player of Star. Anonymous has also been taken away, and now 420 boy all of a sudden has been completely blown off in that vehicle, and now Zibian is in a 1v1 fight against Flurry against off Star Esports, and in that it is going to be Flurry, that furry, that has won that 1v1 battle, and that has resulted in obviously Clarity Esports, getting away from this. Wolverine is on a domination mode, so a lot of team have actually started getting a lot of points. We talk about Team QWERTY, they are on a roll, they are certainly on a charge.
Well, they most certainly are. There's nothing stopping the team, but of course now we have Modified on our screens, who have not been able to confirm a kill for themselves, have already gotten 2 of their players dead, and now it is not looking good for them as well. It is going to be the side of i8 who are reigning in supreme with 8 kills confirmed for themselves, and as soon as we jump on towards Modified, that perfect nade brought on from the side of i8 has resulted in that team being eliminated. With that, 6 teams are remaining. We are now introduced to, of course, Team QWERTY, who have had a decent fun game right now, because we can see that they've been able to accumulate 6 kills for themselves. They've lost Rehman and Khan to the cause, but Wolverine and Voltrix are still part of this entire saga, and ZARAR Esports getting eliminated on the 8th spot with 8 kills as well. Now this is where things are going to get trickier and trickier for the teams that are remaining, because they've got a lot of kills, yes, but will the numbers be working in the favor of i8 or the Grounders? Because when it comes down to the other teams, there aren't many. From Freestyle, we've got this one final boy, and that's going to be Gilly Boy right here, who's going to try and survive for as long as he can, because he's the final player surviving. But before he does so, it seems like he's going to be pincering down the movement from Team QWERTY, and doing so will result in him getting better half of the fight and the points as well for his team. He is going to get that bandaged up, and he will be trying to get that move into the zone itself, where he is just 57 meters away, but without any utility, without any first aid, as well as a very damaged vest and helmet. It is not looking like an easy case for the side of FS's player, Gully Boy, but before he gets eliminated, it is Team Star being sent back. With that, 4 teams remaining, i8 looking absolutely in control, but so is going to be the side of TUF.
They are certainly looking good with Grounders, also 3 players alive. They also have a very good chance for the moment with Zigzaw on a charge. They are really trying to dominate the lobby and they are holding the center line of the circle. With all the 3 players in a different split situation, it is going to be a tough task if I8 needs to make a push. We have seen in just this game itself how beautifully the grenades and those tacticalities are being used for sure, with Crypto getting hold of all these complete angles. The smokes are certainly where he will be trying to bloom himself away, because he know that what sort of caliber and what sort of confidence he is having for this moment, and at any point, at any moment, if it decides to charge on the players of the Grounders, it will be one good thing. But before that, it is going to be Jigsaw that has fallen down thanks to the onslaught that is coming in from the sides of Edgar and Thor, the only 2 players surviving from the sides of UAGxTUF. 6 kill is what they have been able to secure. It is going to be 2v2 affair, and before that happens, it seems that Thor is in a mood to reduce the number to 1 from the sides of the Grounders, and before that happens, a lot of Molotovs and a lot of grenades are being used, constantly used, and this is an impression of one good team.
Wow, what a play from the side of TUF being created right here. They're just a 2-man army. Of course, we've got Thor as well as Erangel, who are trying to push on alongside the players of the Grounders itself. The Grounders players are trying to get their player revived. It is not going to be allowed, as Jigsaw will be sent, and in that, it is going to be just Knight and Sensei, who are the 2 players remaining from the side of Grounders. So again, as Ankit was just mentioning, this has resulted in a perfect 2v2 situation, but will there be a third party that we can anticipate? Talking about the zone itself, the Grounders are looking pretty comfortable into the compound that they are in, and that is not the kind of play that you wanted to make, because I8 have rushed in as well with the third party that I was just mentioning. It is not looking good for the Grounders, because from one side it was I8, on the other front it is going to be Edgar, and along with his teammate, this team is going to annihilate I8, but it is only a matter of few minutes before we can see what sort of a play will it be. He has been given a revival. Knight as well as his teammate Sensei are going to be rushing on along up top and trying to get that health first aid kit popped, but will that be enough? Because for now it is going to be these 4 teams, and of course when it comes down to Edgar and of course Thor, they are just relentless in terms of the utilities that they have utilized against the players of the Grounders, and I8 are just patiently waiting in the backline as these 2 teams take on the fight.
Where is Gully Boy? Where is Freestyle Gully Boy? We cannot spot him. He's still finding himself in that position where we obviously cannot find him, and so are the players of I8, and he can really bring all those placement points. But for the moment, it is going to be a 2v2 affair where now UAGxTUF are being tough enough to pin down the players on the sides of the Grounders. They are trying to hold this compound for how long? This is going to be the question. We are getting to see some close range use these fast, and that can be really a big dent, a detrimental amount of damage is what that UZ can bring. And now Sensei is just down on so low on HP. It seems that he doesn't even have a first aid, but now it seems that yes, he's patching himself up, but he's using the bandages. That certainly means he doesn't even have that. But on different tangent, Knight does that 1v1 affair, and Edgar has been certainly pulled away. Not only him, it is going to be Thor, and that marks an exit for one team, and this was certainly not looking good. UAGxTUF 7 kills what, and 4 at the placement point. Just the 8 placement points and 7 kills makes a total of 15 is what they'll be able to secure from this match.
What a play from the side of Grounders. I mean, this team just absolutely held their ground for such a long time, were able to pincer down TUF, and of course held their ground and confirmed those points for themselves again and again. That fight just extended for such a long time. I8 were just patiently waiting in the barn area, and as they did so, now they have the better half of this entire positioning, because the zone is going to be favoring them, and when it comes to the Grounders, well, the Blues are certainly going to be covering them up. On the other front, talk about Gully Boy. He is so patiently just standing in the corner lines. He has not been spotted as of now, but it is going to be I8's gameplay from the looks of it. Or will there be an X factor that we can anticipate from the side of Grounders? I8 certainly did bring in those utilities, and that resulted in Sensei as well as Knight going down to almost 15% HP, but they have had so many first aids against the push that was showcased from TUF. They got a lot of information, they got a lot of health department taken care of as well, but they still were able to get it all up to 100%, and this is where the Grounders have reigned in supreme. But again, the question will be, will it be enough? Because the Grounders need to make a rotation from this area, and as soon as they try and do so, that information has been given away. I8 were absolutely ready to pincer them down, and as soon as they were spotted, the team has been punished. And what a play, because this is when Freestyle Gully Boy is going to chime in along to get some points for himself as well. He has been able to confirm a knock, but not a kill as of now, as Uzum and his teammate Reviews try and push on towards the players of TG, but TG have different things in mind. Sensei is going to be pushing on along, and his teammate Knight is just going to be popping another first aid to get himself part of the fight as well. Uzum is going to be trying to bring that Knight, and a knock will be given to Sensei as Uzum's spray was so on point indeed. Crypto trying his level best but will not be allowed. What a perfect approach. What a perfect approach from the side of this team of I8. Incredible synergistic play being showcased, and this has resulted the team of I8 Esports wonderfully making another Miramar game count for themselves. 11 kills is what they got. 26 total points, find themselves on the top of the leaderboard with 2,162 damage that they were able to dish out. An amazing turn of events. I mean, it seems like this team is going to be known for their Miramar gameplay.
They certainly are. Yesterday it was, 22 kills. Today it is half, but the chicken dinner is not half. I mean, this is a complete chicken is what they were able to secure, and a total of 15 points in terms of placement points and 11 total makes of 26.
Wow.
I mean, still the domination continues. You talk about the Miramars. This time it was not again Clarity Bablu. This time it is again I8. Yesterday's gameplay I8. This game time it was I8. But you need to comment the way the grounders held their ground. It was a tough push against them by TUF, UAGxTUF, and then it was one player surviving from the sides of FS, and that was not it for themselves, because we have just got to see the most valuable player for the moment with Edgar from the sides of UAGxTUF. 5 kills, 971 damage, 25 minutes, 8 seconds of survival time, 2 assists, 173 healing done. So all in all, not much of a healing done for Edgar, but still a lot of damage, a lot of kills, and a survival time that eventually helped the whole team, because at the end it was him, Edgar, and it was Sensei that was really holding the ground strong for the whole of the team.
What a fabulous gameplay this has been. Clarity Esports' Zibian as well as 420 Boy find themselves on the 4th and 5th spot of the top players with 5 and 4 kills respectively. But GG play being showcased from the side of I8 as well, where Crypto and Uzum were the man who were 2nd and 3rd in the top players list. An amazing start being showcased, where now we have TUF reigning in supreme. Look at Edgar and Thor. They are just all across the board with the most utilities used, as well as the highest kill being brought on with the highest damage. This is TUF Edgar. Amazing play that they were able to showcase. But I8 got the better half of this entire fight with the 11 kills and a chicken dinner. This team has 26 points and has taken over Clarity Esports in the overall ranking.
Indeed, it is going to be the case as now Grounders, but still a good affair for Grounders. Not a lot of kill, but still the important points. We talk about Grounders. The consistency is the key to success, and they are getting a lot and huge amount of chunk of total points that they were able to secure. 15 is total what they were able to secure for this match, but 52 Rage Esports. I mean, back-to-back failures in this game itself, the last game itself. Last game they were able to secure, I guess, 2-3 points. In this match, no point whatsoever, and this would certainly result them finding themselves still at the 16th position with Qwerty Esports again one big quarter round. But NFP Sky, I mean, last game it was certainly looking good for them as soon as they were trying to take the fight against certain teams, but as they tried to take the fights, they just faltered down.
They most certainly did. With that, let's summarize all of the efforts, all of these valiant efforts that these teams showcased through, of course, the Oppo F19 Pro moments, and this is where Quraysh Esports went up against the PES players, and what a phenomenal turn of events that turned out to be. But the fight did not end there, because from one fight to the next, this Miramar map was really exciting and exhilarating, because 52x right here, Rage was the definition is what they were trying to do, but ZARAR got the better half of them as they just kept on bringing that domination. And this is when Clarity just chimed in along with their approach, bringing in 10 kills for themselves in the one placement point. Clarity Esports had a phenomenal run. I mean, one placement point but 10 kills, so you know for a fact that when it comes to the side of Clarity Esports, the domination is going to be always in the kill department. On the other front, this is where things went a little dicey, where it was 2 players, of course, from the side of the Grounders, Knight as well as his teammate, who were being pushed against the players of TUF. But what a fort that was that they held, and in doing so resulted in moving on along and finally playing for the 2nd place, and that was against the players of I8. And in that, of course, I8 got the better half of the fight, but a GG play being showcased. But this is where we see so many teams walking away with 0 kills. We've got IV right there, we've got, of course, 52x Rage, we've got Qwerty Esports, we've got Team Sky, we've got Modified. They were part of fights, but again, the kill department certainly not favoring them, because on the other front, we've got 3 huge towers. I8 with 11 kills, 2,162 damage. Then comes ZARAR, of course, with 2,048 with 8 kills. Just domination is what these teams have showcased, and of course that results in the other teams not being a part of the kill department.
IAT Esports right there at the apex, right there at the top. But what they were eyeing for, 2 chicken is what they have for the moment. And this game was certainly not the QWERTY Esports game. At 75, they are positioned for this moment with no chicken whatsoever. Grounders gets 1 more green, and at the 63 total points. So a lot of point sharing between 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4. And then we get to see at the modified stage, at the 5th total position with a total of 60 points. Not a lot of difference between them itself. And then we got to see some sort of drop as Team Star is also now on a rise. But apart from that, moving on to second half of the chart, it's Team Sky that really didn't have a good day itself. QWERTY certainly now they are looking aggressive for the moment, also in terms of kill departments and also in terms of placement departments. Slowly and steadily they are coming out of all the blues for 15 to 14. Now they are positioning themselves at the 11th position, and 2 games still left, 2 more opportunities. That means they might find themselves in the top 8 or top 7, because the difference between the 7th position team and the 11th position team is not so much. And with the momentum with which Team QWERTY is coming in, it's just a matter of a single game.
Absolutely is. It is just a matter of that one good game that the team needs, and that is what will result in them moving on into the top 8 itself. But with that, we've got 2 games done. We are now going to move on into the map of Sanhok. But before we do so, it's time for that short break. We're going to be right back.
Here we go now.
Are you keeping it real? I'm calling shotgun, wanna see my baby run. Oh, what's the word on the sea? Kicking up the dust, if you know what
Hello and welcome once again to, of course, PUBG Mobile Club Open for Pakistan region. All thanks to Oppo F19 Pro. It is time to get jumping into the map itself. This is going to be Sanhok, where we're going to be diving into. But before we do so, let's have a look at the schedule. That will, of course, reiterate the fact that we are going to be jumping into the map of Sanhok, but also let us know when it comes to the map of Erangel. Well, that was one team that won. That was none other than TUF. Move on to the map of Miramar. We just saw I8 take a convincing victory, but now on Sanhok, which side is this going to be? Which team is it going to be? We do see I8 taking on the first onto the overall ranking. It is going to be QWERTY Esports with just 1 point shy of that first position itself. So there is a lot of rivalries being created and the points are so very close. So without further ado, let's just jump right into the game and have a look at the flight path.
Indeed, it is going to be the flight path already on its way, and we're getting to see Cream QWERTY on a roll from their POV. In the last game itself, they were on a roll, as now they're finding themselves at the 11th position, finding themselves away from the bottom of this task. So the positioning points is one optimistic thing that really they can bring the influence from and that can help them to get into this map of Sanhok, where we have gotten to see a lot of turnaround. Yesterday's gameplay itself, we got to see UNB getting that chicken, and it was Freestyles that was also really trying to make a comeback. We also saw some sort of fights erupting in the area of ruins, as it seemed that the fight might continue, but it seemed that now the players are moving away. I would have loved to see if some sort of early contestation would really happen, not only in the area of ruins, but also it may happen towards the area of boot camp. But it seemed that yes, as we just got to see ruins it was yesterday, and all of a sudden it seemed that Quraysh might be facing the brunt of EV into the area around the down south side of Nakam and Shami, where the two colored parachutes are already present. And along with that, it is also going to be Portal, but somewhere down the line, all these fights might erupt as soon as possible.
Oh yes, they will. Oh yes, they most certainly will. It's just a matter of minutes before we do see these teams take on those fights and onslaughts against each other, because that is what they are here. That is what they are here for, and that is what they're going to be trying to dominate against. And Portal Esports are the ones who are training to reign in Supreme, and it is going to be Ivy onto the receiving front. Not looking too good, because it is going to be Sane bringing in some perfect sprays, but Iqbal is ready and well equipped and prepped to take on the onslaught all by himself from the looks of it. Yes, it is a 1v1 situation where Portal Esports is insane, has not gotten even a little bit of damage onto himself, but on the other front, talk about Iqbal, well, there is quite a lot of damage on him. He's left with about 60% health, but it is just a matter of time before it is going to turn into a riddle, absolute riddle that is going to be for the side of Portal Esports is insane, because for now, it is going to be Iqbal who's going to be falling back and going to be getting himself out of this tricky situation that he finds himself in. And the zone has been created, and these teams find themselves at the edge of it. So a decent start to the game, but sadly, no kills have been confirmed for any of these teams.
Since they are on edge of the circle and Shami is where the fight is actually erupting, I guess Camp Charlie is where the circle is predominantly dominating at this moment, where some chunk of Camp Bravo and Alpha might also come into contestation. But I guess this fight may erupt for a longer situation, but certainly it won't be a wise decision for any of these teams to erupt and find themselves for a long time, as now Ivy, the one player at Bull that was finding himself in a 1-1 situation, has certainly escaped death. For the moment, it is again knocked over without any helmet. He's running and he's moving in an open situation. It's just a matter of time where Quraysh Esports, he is just surviving on the mercy of him, because if he find himself in the closer vicinity, he might just fall down. But Portal Esports, Nocto knows the exact positions of Quraysh Esports. All the 4 players are stationed at this same areas, and obviously Akbul will be finding himself closer towards that baby pink markers where the baby players are alive, but it's completely barren island where we're getting to see all the 3 islands finding themselves into the circle. And in these sort of situations, it is going to be QWERTY finding themselves into the area of Painan, and they are in a most advantageous position, because whenever the circle tends to go towards the Camp Bravo, they will just have to move 50 to 100 meters and just cross that small little stream that separates Painan into 2 different halves, 2 different equal halves, and that can be one good thing. But also it's a big split. In yesterday's game itself, we saw Northeast Sports, Ghosta finding himself on the Camp Bravo, and rest of the 2 players finding himself on the Camp Alpha. The strategy didn't work in yesterday's gameplay, but that might work whenever the circle constricts in their lap. But on different side, there is also one big split. Talk about Camp Pong, 2 Cave, 2 Dogs. It is the way Freestyles have been playing in the past.
Well, that's a freestyle approach right there. That is the way that they are going to be trying to decimate the competition, because after all, when it comes down to the loot, that is the way they create that loot, and what a play this team is going to be working towards. On the other front, talking about bootcamp region itself, we've got UNB right there, we've got the side of Team QWERTY right there, and alongside that, if at all Sky wants to chime in along with Modified, they could very well do so as well. But for now, it is going to be Modified very close to the vicinity of NFPX Sky, and it is not looking good and easy, because it seemed like there was a little bit of a damage that was showcased, and a knock was confirmed. But on the other front, Ivy is going to be the team that will be pinning down the players of Quraysh Esports as Quraysh try and get themselves moving out of that zone to get into a compound. But sadly, it is not looking good and easy, because the kill has been confirmed and Ivy have gotten one player knocked. But in doing so, of course, it is Mani who has been completely sent back into the lobby from the side of Quraysh. Not the kind of play that was expected from Quraysh Esports or the style that they were participating in, but it is the way that this game has turned out to be for them, where their second player has been knocked, and it is now going to be all down to Adi. But he does not know that a cooked nade is going to be onto his face, but he will be moving away from that. And perfect Dr. Fate, he was trying, but of course his opponent Adi had already moved away from that position. Wow, Vector coming in, Vector just completely decimating him to the face, and final player Dubai is going to be the man who will try and retaliate against this onslaught. But what a fight this has turned out to be, and Ivy, being the champions, have certainly gotten the kill for themselves. 4 defeats right off the bat in the first 5 minutes of the game itself. An interesting play that Quraysh Esports were trying, but out in the open, running one by one, it's just not the way, I mean, then again, that is what has resulted. Of course, you lose some, you win some, and that is the play that has been showcased against them, sadly. But as the game progresses on along, we are now waiting for another contestation that, well, for now, is going to be a slow, low-key poke, because there aren't many teams that are going to be part of that. But on the other front, talk about Modified. Look at that, getting in a ghillie suit on the map of Sanhok. That is going to be absolutely brutal bullet, and that is going to be decimating to the opponents, because you are a plant and you are a plant who is going to be eating your opponents in this lobby. What a play that Bullet is going to be able to create for himself with that loot parade working in his favor. But will it be enough? Because there are so many teams around him. We can clearly see that team QWERTY is right there. Will the side of Modified be making that rotation towards that region, or they will be sticking to that same little spot that they find themselves in? We shall certainly come back to that. For now, Team QWERTY finally on our screens has been able to get a decent loot for themselves with a level 2 kit that we can clearly see on Rahman, and has been able to get a lot of utility as well set up for himself. On the other front, when it comes down to the opponents that he's trying to spot on, he has no information as of now, but he's certainly trying. He's certainly working towards the exact same saga, and we shall see if at all they will be spotted or not.
That is certainly going to be the case, as now Modified is just trying to spot on the player, but all of a sudden 52 Rage Murtaza is just looking unstoppable for this moment, as they are trying to take the fight against NFP Sky, as Halsey goes down. And not only going down, it seems that he has been eliminated from the lobby, but Modified Bullet, he is that snake, he is that plant that Blotter was mentioning, and he can really eat the man out in a very raw approach. But for the moment, Team Sky, one player getting eliminated. Halsey was certainly found himself away from this match with all the 3 players alive. Now they're really trying to make a move onto the zone, but they are in a split. One player, Ash, is pretty much on the backhand side with the 2 players, but not so much of distance is what I can get to see with all between the 3 players, with Khatir also holding one different angle. But 52 Rage Esports, I mean, this was the one team that really pulled down the one player, Halsey, from the sides of NFP Sky, and they must be very much furious in order to draw out the vengeance, the revenge against NFP Skies. And 52 Rage in all these situations are looking damn pretty good at this moment. And talking about some different teams, I mean, we talked about and have seen a lot the teams that are finding themselves in the central lines of the circle, but Bhan is the area where UAGTUF are positioned at this moment, with all 4 different players. Different vehicles are being used, and not a lot of vehicles have been used in the game of Sanhok, because that eventually gives a lot of sound cues. But certainly this is a change in meta, because more often now we are getting to see players are loving their way move forward with the help of those vehicles. But we talked about the fight between 52 Rage Esports. The vengeance is still on, the banter is still on, the fight is still on, as Ash is now trying to spot down the players. But before he spots down, was brought on sliver of NHP. He just survived the mercy. Had there been one more bullet connected, he would have certainly gone down. But now he need to move away, and this big rock will eventually help him. But sadly, he doesn't have any first. That means all the 4 bandages will be taking lot of time. I mean, 3 bandages, 50 seconds will straight away wasted in all these situations, and in that it is going to be Rage Esports that are on a charge onto the players of NFP Sky, and they are making sure. But in doing so, Hamzi has gone down from different directions.
What a play this is turning out to be for the side of course, 52xRage, as they are taking on a fight against the players of Sky, but of course, they themselves have gotten a knock, and they will be, of course, given that revival first and foremost before they try and take on the fight against the onslaught that they're trying to hope for against Team Sky. And in doing so, they best be careful because they do not want to be giving away the information, and that is exactly what they will be doing if they're going to be running out in the open, and that is what NFP Sky have been waiting for. Now they have the information down to know exactly where the team is, and this is when Kian will be brought on, and of course Kian will be bringing in the damage towards the players of 52x Sky. An incredible turnover wins where UAG is also going to be chiming in along from another front altogether against the players of 52xRage, and this is not looking good, where 52xRage for a moment were looking absolutely in control in terms of the information that they are retaining, but for now when it comes to the third party situation going up against the side of Team Sky has resulted in them getting off guard, and of course Team Sky are the ones who are better half of this fight. Will certainly be losing that one player, but eventually will be able to get themselves, of course, away from the entirety of the situation. But on the other front, talking about 52xRage, this team is not yet done. They are going to be pushing and creating a flank, and based on the mini-map that this team is going to be pursuing with the force and intent to completely decimate their opponent, and that is what this team is doing. But as they do make so much of noise making this rotation, it is going to be the side of course, NFP Sky who will be able to retaliate, and a perfectly set up nade to the face of 52xRage has resulted in them being brought down to their knees. This is not looking good once again for 52xRage, as 2 of their players are knocked once again. What a play this has turned out to be. From one side, they got 2 knocks, they got the players revived, and then made a very big flank angle behind the players of Team Sky. But then again, Team Sky knew exactly where they were based on, of course, the audio cues that the team was given away, and of course, Carter gave them the respect that they deserved with the nade parade to the face.
The misery is not ending. The misery is certainly not ending for 52xRage, as now they are being taken care of. With the player falling down, they're still making sure that all 4 players are alive. They were completely being outsmarted. They really tried to outsmart the players, but in return, there was a big revenge that was coming in. And now Kati tried to spot on the player, and the way faster was like to move in before the revival comes in, before the player assistant comes in. It is going to be Khatir that has also brought the final nade in the cockpit, but in doing so, he just aggressed too much, and in that it is going to be 3 players bouncing upon him. But one more knock from the sides of Ash, but was just not enough. The numbers advantage was with which 52xRage was going in, and they have certainly got rid of complete whole team. What a fight, what a resistance, but certainly the player needs the revival, and they will be sooner or later looting all these crates because they must be low on HP, they must be low on medics. As now we head towards some different fights where we're getting to see Team Star also having an eye upon on this fight. That means they have certainly drawn an attention of multiple teams in this lobby.
Well, they most certainly have. We just saw in the kill feed that was Team QWERTY chiming along against the players of 52xRage, and once again 52xRage find themselves a bit of a lost cause situation because they've been fencered down again and again. Yes, they have been very consistent in terms of taking that fight against the players of Team Sky and did get the fight in their favor, but not before they gave the information away to so many other teams. Team Star right here, we can see Zyro absolutely waiting patiently to take that fight, and as soon as the players from 52xRage give a little bit of the information, of course Gyro is going to be retaliating with the lead to, of course, the team. And of course in that the kill, I believe, was not yet confirmed, but it was certainly a little bit of damage that was showcased. 52xRage had been brought down to a 3-man squad. We shall come back to that as to what sort of a position will they be once they get themselves all acclimated and looted up in terms of course, the first aids that they are so very much low on the other front of the map altogether. They've got I8, only 150 meters, 118 meters away from the comfort of the zone itself. This team is being very, very careful. Look at the way that they're making this rotation. All the 4 players checking all the 4 angles as they are in the open, and that is the way that you want to be able to move on along. And of course, that is exactly what this team is doing. Team QWERTY once again in the kill feed, taking the onslaught to the face of 52xRage. Well, 52xRage, we've been asking that team, we've been requesting that they bring up their gameplay. They certainly did bring up the gameplay, but this time around they've made so much of sound. They've made so much of sound that they've given away the information as well. And the information has been given away. They are being caught off guard again and again from one team to the next.
I8 being pretty much vigilant in terms of the rotation that they're doing to make sure, checking each and every angle, checking each and every rock, be it with the tree trunks, be it with the grasses, and that has resulted in them without any sort of loss with the player. They are moving into the zone, but to Painan is where we are getting to see the deathbed of contestation as now. Portal Esports, all the 3 players are alive. Sadly, this time Portal Esports have joined this lobby with just the 3 players, with Nocto, Momtu, and 1 more player from this side. Now they will facing the heat as now 420 boy from the sides of Clarity. Bablu has got a lot of hit on his body, and Painan is where we are getting to see a lot of contestation. That means the circle is somewhere down the line favoring the Camp Charlie, or maybe Camp Charlie-ish island down the line, and then we might get to see the fight erupting, but still pretty much away from the fight that can erupt, because Clarity, it seems that they are just making the formation. Wolf is finding himself in the crouch position, and somewhere down the line all the 4 players are deployed in different direction to just check in. But on a different tangent, the other side of Painan is just not occupied by not any team, be it be Portal Esports, be it be Clarity. So all the teams are on the right hand side of the Painan. That means Camp teams coming in from the Camp Bravo might just face the brunt of it. But on a different tangent, it is going to be Ivy that are finding themselves in a lot of fight. But the fight is still onto the area of Painan, where Wolf is still making sure that what sort of info that he can bring to, with Bablu, 420 boy getting the backhand side of the compound, Zibyan getting that extreme flank angle. Just want one player to maybe engulf the complete player and complete squad of Portal Esports and try to make a move from the backhand side, and that can be certainly one case that can help them.
That most certainly could be the case, but right here it is going to be ZARAR trying to find themselves into the comfort of the zone, but it is going to be none other than Ivy who are going to be trying to stop them in their tracks. But the Molotov that has been showcased from the side of Vaz right here could be the reason, could be the gate opener for the side of ZARAR to make this rotation into the comfort of the zone. But as they do so, the zone is just certainly running away and further away, because this is 600 meters away both these teams find themselves in, and the fight is continuing on, where Fady with the nade parade is going to be trying to bring in the kill for himself, and that kill will certainly be given to him. What a perfect approach that he was able to showcase. This team of Ivy have been able to confirm 6 kills up until now already, but now it is time for the team to move. They've already lost one of their players, that's going to be Iqbal, and on the other front, the 3-man squad is certainly looking pretty confident with the 6 kills they've gotten. But again, 600 meters, it's a long journey. They better get started quickly. On the other tangent, again, we move on towards ZARAR. That also, of course, have to try and get into the comfort of the zone, and it seems like it is easier said than done, because the teams are going to be, of course, gate kept, and as they do try and make that rotation, there will be other teams who will, of course, be trying to make that sort of a late rotation as well, and that is what this team of Ivy as well as ZARAR are going to have to be very, very careful of.
They have to, because there are other teams in this lobby and in this proximity that are present and just waiting for them to welcome them. But as soon as Ivy made the rotations, it is going to be obviously a big jump for them to make a move in zone, and a complete vacant space is from where they must be making a rotation. And since they have those vehicles with them, it will be an easy task for them. But as soon as they make a move on the edge of the circle, it will be modified, that will be just welcoming them. But the boot camp, you remember Plotters yesterday gameplay, it was boot camp itself where we got to see the circle, and then it's same sort of circle we are getting to see. Last time it was UNB that was really looking phenomenally well, and this time itself all the 4 players are alive from the left hand side. But for the players being live, it seems that Portal Esports, the player, have got a lot of dent with Nocto bleeding off. Baby has been completely thrown away. Insen is the last player alive, and they have to face the onslaught that Bablu can bring. It's just a matter of time. As soon as he gets in the closer proximity and in the crosshair of Clarity Bablu, he will be surely taken care of.
Well, what a play this is showcasing to be. On the other front, when you talk about the slot that was remaining, it is going to be Portal Esports that will not be allowed, and that slot that they had to get into the zone will be taken away, all thanks to, of course, Clarity right there. And another front to talk about is going to be the zone itself. In the zone, we did see Team QWERTY were the ones who found themselves in the comfort of the zone, but as they did so, they tried to bring an onslaught to the players of 52x Rage and were able to absolutely try and pinch them down, not before they themselves took a knock. And now we move on to Team Star, who are going to try and get into the zone. Just a few meters away is what they find themselves from the zone itself, but there are so many teams in contestation, and right here Fury will try his level best to give his teammate the revival. No, no, he will not. He's going to try and get himself into the zone comfort itself, and as he does so, it is going to be the smoke wall that he's going to need to create, because that is the way that the game will be allowing him to play. Otherwise, he will most certainly be third-partied across as he gets to the comfort of the zone on the other front. As we talk about the zone itself, there are so many teams trying to stay at the edge of the zone itself, and it is I8 on our screens right here who have been able to confirm 3 kills for themselves and are absolutely looking forward to converting that into more, because they are just trying to pinch down the rotations as well as get the information for so many teams. 52 X-rays right there with just that one player remaining on the other front. As we move on towards the boot camp itself, it is going to be TUF who are now taking on the fight. Older players of North Esports indeed, and NES are not looking good, but as of now no knocks have been confirmed, no kill has been taken place, so both the teams are looking absolutely ferocious and phenomenal. But who will be the one who will start to open this entire chart and bank, and in this boot camp area, who will be the one who will reign in supreme is the conversation that we will have to see and answer in just a few minutes time. I am pretty certain that the utilities that TUF is using should be able to bring in a little bit of damage towards the side of North Esports, but North Esports are being so very careful in the way that they make this rotation and the information that they end up giving away in terms of the audio cues and whatnot.
UAGxTUF has to come out of all these bootcamp compounds. It's really easy to find yourself into their bootcamps, but really tough to find yourself away from all these compounds and all these symmetries, as now North Esports are duly noting the rotations of the player, and all the 4 players from the sides of UAG are making it pretty difficult for North Esports to spot on the rotation, because all the 4 players are moving differently in some different directions, and that is really puzzling them out. But now QWERTY Esports are on a charge against one team that really secured chicken in the last days of Sanhok, and now it seems that they are completely trying to decimate the lobby, as now Wolf is on a charge. Ghost is still surviving, but for how long, that is going to be the question, as now Zibian tries to bring one more knock, and not only tries, he was successful enough as the drop that comes to the right point at this right time. But no, it is going to be Pharaoh that is still arrived, that is still trying to backstab the players, and now it is up to him how he's just trying to take the fight with the players and the fight going on. It seems that he is giving a tough fight, a tough charge onto the players. The players are just flying in there, and the players are flying in there, the bullets are flying in there, but certainly that flying bullet just got connected onto the bodies of UNB, and thus eliminating 7 kill is what the whole squad of QWERTY Bablu is standing at this moment, and what a fight that we just got to witness.
Well, 4 teams remaining right here. We've got the Grounders being taken on down as well. This is not looking good, but again, when it comes down to the teams that are remaining and surviving, as we just said, there are 4 teams remaining, and all 4 members of these teams are surviving. From the side of FS to the side of QWERTY, to North Esports, to I8. I mean, all of them have been part of some incredible rotations, but eventually when it comes down to the final few moments of the game, the numbers advantage is certainly not going to be the case, because it is going to be a small area out in the open, but 4 players surviving. Now this is where FS are going to be bringing in their kill department, where Ghardari is the man who is going to be trying to reign in supreme. He was able to confirm that knock against the players of I8, but that kill has not yet been confirmed. So an interesting play that was being showcased from the side of Ghardari has still not been able to confirm the kill. I8 on the other hand are busy against the players of North Esports themselves, and QWERTY also chimes in along and will not allow North Esports to get away from the boot camp into the zone, and as they do so, it is seeming like gate-kept situation against the players of NES, where NES has only Zaman remaining in just a matter of seconds, because QWERTY as well as the side of I8 have absolutely pinched them down, and in doing so, it is certainly going to be QWERTY who has given away the information to I8 as well. And on the other front, when it comes to North Esports, Zaman, well, he is out in the blue. He will not be allowed to survive for long, and Bablu will take care of that team. With that, 3 teams remaining. QWERTY Esports looking absolutely dominating with 10 defeats to themselves as they take this fight to the players of FS, and FS are trying their level best to get the information for themselves. We see Malik trying to jump on along, and what a perfect nade against the player of QWERTY right next to Wolf, and in doing that play has resulted in Wolf being knocked. 3 players remain from the side of QWERTY. Wolf will certainly not be given a revival for now, because the fight is continuing on, and a third party could be anticipated from the side of I8. It is just a matter of time, because I8 is so very quiet. They've got the information, they've got the audio feeds. What are they waiting for? Perhaps they are just going to be bringing that domination against both of these teams in a single go.
Crypto on a rage, Crypto on a rampage mode as we are getting to see three big teams from this region itself. It is going to be i8, it is going to be Clarity, and of course it is going to be Freestyle. All the four players from the sides of both the teams are coming in, but certainly a big dent has been blown onto the place of Clarity as now Zipian also leaves down. Wolf also goes on. All of a sudden this is turning in a turmoil for Freestyles and 2 also for Clarity, where now the fights are erupting between i8 and obviously for the Freestyle. Before that it was Freestyle that really eliminated 3 players from the side of Clarity, and now Clarity is on the backhand side, tried to make a backstab but was just not enough for him, and now this is an invitation for i8 as now Blade is on a charge and Crypto brought those important knocks against Freestyle, but it's just a matter of a second where the last player is still alive. He's out of blue, Black will be taken care of, and there we go. What a chicken for i8. It was certainly not the Miramar, but as soon as they stepped in this game of Sanhok, they really made it look so easy. Talk about Crypto, talk about use him, talk about reviews. Everyone was just looking so fantastic in terms of the gameplay that they did secure. In the last gameplay itself, all the 4 players from the different 3 teams were alive, but then it was i8 that really held the grounds well, and that resulted themselves getting a lot of kills. 14 is the total number of kill points, 29 is the total number of points that they were able to secure, and 2, 3, 1, 8 is where they are at the damage. Last game itself, it was i8, and then itself again, I mean, complete sort of domination by them.
Oh yes, absolute dominating play being showcased from the side of this team of i8, where Crypto walked away with 9 kills. There's no two ways about it. This dude better be the MVP of this game because he held the fort for the side of i8 Esports with 9 kills, 3 assists, 1153 damage all by himself in the 22.5 minute of survival time. This is just ludicrous play that is being showcased from the side of i8 Esports indeed. And in that entire saga, this team get, well, not only the points, but they will be creating a lead. When it comes to the overall rankings, they are going to be creating a huge lead. But that lead can, of course, be challenged because we still have one more game remaining. With that, we move on to the top players,
where we got to see Clarity's player Bablu, 4 kills, 538 damage, and Faddy from the sides of EV was also the one that was featuring himself into that. Crypto again, I mean, this is one real talent. We have talked about this Crypto gameplay, Crypto team play is the one that is really trying to dominate the lobby. 9 kill is what he was able to secure. Highest damage 1153. This is no joke, especially in the game of Sanhok. You don't get a lot of chance, you don't get a lot of time to take the fight, but he really made sure at the end it was Circle that the 8 shift went into the lab. But before that happens, it was a fight between Clarity and FS, and realizing the situation, sensing the gravitas of the situation is where Clarity is supposed to chime in, and that find resulted themselves eventually getting important 14 kill points, 15 placement points, 29 total points. Getting at the top is where i8 Esports is making a move.
Oh yes, with 10-point lead on the overall ranking, I believe this team is reigning in supreme. That is going to be the side of i8 Esports with the second chicken dinner for the day. A beautiful turn of events, but talk about Freestyle. Freestyle has been consistent in trying to get themselves in the top 3. Throughout the day, they always have been trying to work towards that, and that is looking really, really good. This time around, I honestly felt that Team QWERTY should be able to do better. They had the circle working in their favor.
Yep.
They were trying to take the fight against the players of 52x Rage as well, but somewhere along the line, they were not allowed to do so, and with that, they have stuck with just a 3-point that they were able to walk away with. So not the second day that we anticipated from the side of Team QWERTY, but moving entirely with the fights that took place, it is going to be the time to move on to the Open Planet Pro moments where the fights were ruckus. It was ruckus throughout the entirety of the game. Absolute chaos being created from the side of Ivy, from Quraysh, who would just completely pincer down as well as pincering down the side of Team Sky. Amazing, amazing turn of events.
The fight was just bamboozling the lobby. It was so fantastic to watch. Everyone just going right off the go. It was 1v1 player. And the best part of this fight was, for me, was that everyone from the sides of Quraysh was granted at least 1 kill points, because it was so sort of fight where one by one the players were going on, and then the trade was made, then the event trade was made from opponent side, and that resulted them getting an equal share of fight. And then we head towards the 20 minute of markup, where it was an impossible task for teams like UNB to survive the onslaught with pitch, the heat that Clarity brings in. Eventually it was some flying shot, the player was flying in the open, and then it was an all easy affair for 420 boy to get the final nail in the coffin. And then this knock could have certainly changed the fate, but their morale didn't go down.
It certainly did not. This is the final few moments of the game itself, where 3 teams were remaining, and Clarity Esports tried to bring that domination to the face, but they were absolutely annihilated, and it was i8 that moved in to take a chicken dinner for themselves. 2,318 damage with 14 kills. I8 is looking absolutely abysmal in terms of the play that they've been able to showcase, though sadly, talk about TUF. Now, TUF is a team that should have been able to get at least one kill. I mean, 666 damage is what this team was part of. Talk about North Esports. Talk about Modified, 1,072 damage. So again, the teams were part of fights. Talk about Team QWERTY, as I was just mentioning, 1,097. I mean, this team was in the kill feed again and again. But sadly, they did not get the kills that they deserved, because you've got the likes of I8 walking away with, what, 14 kills? You've got the likes of IV walking away with 9 kills, FS with 5. Amazing stats that these teams have been able to create, and with that, we do have the 10-point lead being created from the side of I8Esports with 3 chicken dinners for this team. But another thing to talk about is going to be the teams right below this team of I8. Clarity Esports with 0 chicken dinners find themselves on the second spot with 95. 15 points shy of that is going to be Freestyle with 0 chicken dinner on the third spot with 80 points, and below them, of course, is going to be Modified on the fourth spot with 67 points without a chicken dinner.
Modified has also done really good in terms of the total consistent point gameplay that they have secured, because the way the other teams are actually playing, it was so easy to slip away from the position that they were holding, but still they are holding the ground, and still one more game left. It seems that they might be getting close to where the 67 can come to 77 or maybe 80, but for the moment 52 Rage Esports itself. And last game itself, we just saw for 4 to 5 kill was what they were able to secure, 900 sort of damage, but still not getting away. It's just the 1 point above with Portal Esports is standing. But ZARAR Esports, we need to talk about this team. The kill number and certainly the placement point, certainly not in the ratio, but ZARAR Esports time and again, they have shown the gun power is as strong as it can be of any other team, but somewhere down the line, they're not just getting those placement points and thus still finding themselves at the bottom of the chart.
Exactly. I mean, 25 kills with only 7 placement points in the games that they've played. They can do better. They can certainly do better. They've played 7 games already. This is going to be the final game for these teams for the day, of course. In total, there are 8 more games that will be remaining for the next 2 days, but it is going to bring us down to, well, this day being the middle ground, so to say, and the teams are certainly, like the likes of I8, they are certainly creating some perfect moments for themselves. But before we continue on with the final game, it is time to go on a short little break. We'll be right back with the final game.
Here we go now.
Are you keeping it real? I'm calling shotgun, wanna see my baby run. Oh, what's the word on the sea?
Hello and welcome once again to PUBG Mobile Club Open of the Pakistan region. A huge thanks to once again Oppo F19 Pro. Let's move on with the show. Of course, it is the final game that is remaining for day number 2. It is going to be scheduled on our screens where well, till now, it has been a TUF start. Of course, with that, I8 have been taking the previous 2 games with domination. And now, finally, when we jump into Erangel, we shall see what sort of a playstyle are we to expect, or will it be another chicken dinner for the side of I8 Esports. And with that, let's just jump directly into the game. Let's get the flight path on our screens. And it is going to be Team QWERTY that is going to be showcasing right here, as the flight path is going to be moving from the eastern front of Lipovka, going all the way towards the Georgiopol region itself. That is going to be making things difficult for teams that do want to go down towards the military base, and that's going to be I8 in a little bit of a tricky situation when it comes to that zone rotation itself. But for now, again, it is not only just that one drop location that these teams find themselves in. There are different drop locations that always do end up working for so many of these teams, and that is what is known as a dynamic play that is required from these teams. And in this sort of a tournament, you better have that sort of a dynamic proficiency to be able to convert games into your favor. Right now, we do of course see Team QWERTY as well as ZARAR, who have dropped on down towards the Milta, as well as of course when it comes down to QWERTY, they get themselves spread out from Lipovka all the way towards the southern region of Mansion itself. And for now, when it comes to the other teams that we can anticipate a contestation, once again, it is not going to be an easy conversation for the team of course Quraysh. They always, it's almost like the team decides to take on a fight in the first few minutes of the game itself. As they find themselves in the Yasnaya Polyana region, there is another team in the vicinity of Quraysh Esports for the moment. We shall have to see if that will be converted into a fight, but probability is high and the likelihood is certainly going to be really high.
But where are I? I mean, the flight was certainly not favoring the southern military base, the Sosnoka military base, so to get to see. And since it was not under the glide, it seemed that they might have gone for some different sort of drop location. We can get to see multicolor teams available around the area of Rozok to school and to school apartment, and somewhere down the line they might find themselves hidden in the same areas. But as perfectly mentioned, Yasnaya Polyana can be the hotbed of contestation, as we can get to see the fights are erupting. But Portal Esports and also Team Star might be finding themselves in some sort of skirmish, as now we are getting to see the heat wave coming out. And there we go, it is Crypto from the sides of I8 that has brought the first blood of this match, and they are really high on confidence. But talking about the contestation that is still on into the area of Yasnaya Polyana, it is going to be UAGxTUF up against to the Quraysh Esports. Quraysh really have taken those early fights and they really have won. Talk about the earlier 2 games, 3 games. This time they really have to be watchful. They really have to be cautious, because UAG is also one team that don't get deterred on a very easy front. But talking about being deterred, it seems that Portal Esports are really looking up to take the fight. Nocto trying to pin down the player and restrict the movement of Fury, along with all the 2 players from the sides of the backhand sides of Portal Esports are on a run. If he has one small grenade onto his back, can be completely lobbed in, but it seems that the assistance from the sides of Team Star is just impossible in this case.
Well, certainly not going to be an easy assistance for the side of Team Star's Fury's teammates basically, but on the front of course Nocto and his teammates, they are going to be moving on along to create some perfect plays for themselves. It seems like Anonymous has not had a good start from the side of Team Star, where the kill has been lost, or rather the teammate has been lost. On the other front, it is going to be of course Portal Esports. There's other players who have been creating that flank angle and are going to be absolutely completely destroying Fury's position, because Fury is left all by himself and will certainly not be allowed to retaliate, because all 4 players from the side of Portal Esports are just going to try and pincer this team down. And Fury, he is playing his card to perfection, will be able to get that one knock, but sadly a kill will not be confirmed. Mom2 did go down, but not for long, because the teammate will be giving him the revival, and Nocto is right there to help the cause on the other front. When it comes down to Abba, Portal Esports is another player. Now this has turned into a 2v1 situation, where it is going to be Laser as well as Zyro who are going to have to be very careful as they try and make that rotation and the push against the players of Portal Esports. And as they do so, it is not looking good for Abba, because ouch, a baby has been lost to the cause. It is not the kind of play that Portal Esports anticipated, but it is the journey that this team is going to have to create, because, well, they did lose 2 of their plays, but on the other front, for the side of Portal Esports, they also did lose 1. So a decent outing for both these teams. Team Star walk away with 1 point. On the other front for Portal Esports, they've got 2 points from this fight, and we're only 4.5 minutes into the game altogether.
Quraysh bringing knock onto the players of UAGxTUF. That means we need to move towards the area of Yasna Polana. It seems the fight has now started erupting and the stalemate is what we have done for the day, as now the fight might just erupt. But Portal Esports getting important one knock, one important kill, as we just got to see two players have been eliminated from the sides of Team Star, with Nocto getting one, and the players are now finding themselves away from the situation. But I'm just not able to actually process that since two players have been eliminated from the sides of Team Star, and it's just the one kill that is showing certainly from the sides of Portal Esports. That means there is one more kill that has certainly gone into some different team, but we'll talk about that. But for the moment, Yasna Polana, the contestation is still on, where IV is facing the heat of Quraysh Esports. All the 3-4 players are charging onto the players, with the Kabul holding onto the angle. Revenge is the one that really needs to create that flank angle, and talking about the flank angle, it is him finding himself with a TPP advantage, and it seems that the players from the sides of Quraysh Esports are just not comfortable to take the fight. But as soon as he finds an open situation, it will be him that will take it care of, and as soon as it happens, it will be all 4 players charging upon to one player, and it is just a lost cause, as a pool will be finished off. And with that, it is going to be Revenge that will be also finished off, just leaving 2 players surviving from the sides of UAGxTUF. 2 early bloods draw from the sides of Quraysh Esports. It seems that they will be looking unstoppable for the moment.
And they need to. They need these sort of fights. This is what is going to be crucial for the side of this team of Quraysh Esports, to be able to convert these sort of opportunities for themselves, and that is exactly what this team is doing synergistically. That is so very crucial. And on the other front, now it seems like they're not yet done. They're not yet done. They're going to push on along to take on IV's 2 more players that are remaining, and it is going to be Fadi who has been brought down. And the rescue, will it be allowed? Dr. Fate is going to try. No, he will not. It is going to be Fadi who has been spotted right here, and Dubai is going to get that kill confirmed for himself. Whereas when it comes down to the teammate, Dr. Fate, well, he is on the run. He is certainly not going to be able to push on and get himself into the arena to take on the onslaught that Quraysh Esports are a part of. What a phenomenal play this has turned out to be for Quraysh, as right off the bat in the first 6 to 7 minutes, this team has been able to accumulate 3 kills for themselves, and this is a massive turn of events for Quraysh Esports. But the journey has just started, as we're only 7 minutes in, and it is going to be a long game for Quraysh Esports if they are to walk away with decent amount of points. As of now, of course, the 3 points have been confirmed, but there is a lot more to be anticipated and expected.
Love the way I8 has actually find themselves away from all these fights. But as soon as I said, it's soon that now they're finding themselves into the crosshair in the vicinity of QWERTY Esports. And there we go. Reviews is on a fire, as still 1 player is left in the area of Yasna Polana, and that fight was quite erupting into the area of Yasna Polana. As soon as the circle is going for the shift, it seems that Lipovka has been completely vanquished from the sides of QWERTY, and now they are on a move, and I'm still waiting to see what sort of advantage, what sort of gun gameplay that can come in from the western side, because we can see 3 different colors just charging in on the closer proximity. It is going to be I8, it's going to be QWERTY, it is obviously going to be TUFF. That is a tough team to handle up and all, but in doing so, it is going to be certain team that will be looking up to take the fight. We are also getting to see some shots that is erupting from the sides of Team QWERTY, but it is going to be an easy entry for the moment, obviously for the sides of Freestyle, but a tough one to talk about for the grounders, because it is obviously Team NFP Sky that might be just gatekeeping for them. But moving on along, we are still stuck in the area of Yasna Polana, because 1 player is still left, and Quraysh Esports Bilal is on the charge just to hunt the last player down, because he won those important kills. And as you perfectly mentioned, Quraysh Esports needs these important 1-1 points.
They do. They most certainly do. And that's not the only team that does. We do know that when it comes down to QWERTY, they need that as well. Comes down to Modified, they need that chicken dinner. There's nothing that can be spoken about that. This team needs a chicken dinner, because this team has been absolutely relentless in terms of trying to get those points for themselves, but it has not been an easy undertaking for this team. Right here, we do have Bullet with the Scarrel and a decent amount of loot that has the... Well, I shouldn't really even say decent amount of loot, because the dude does not even have a first aid, and it's only the first 9 minutes, but they do need to have a lot better loot, and that is something that can be spoken about the side of Team QWERTY, which is looking phenomenal. But they are up against the side of Portal Esports, and they seem to have taken a lot of knock and damage, and in doing so, it is Mom2 who is now going to be braining in Supreme. And what a play that was. What a play that was, where Rahman was brought down to his knees, but not not before Mom2 was completed, and in that, this team of QWERTY will be able to get 2 points for themselves as well. Now, this is again another team that do need those points just the same way Quraysh Esports does, and this team we do know is capable. They just need to be slowly moving along with the flow of the show, and that is when flow of the game, and that is when, of course, this team will be able to bring their gameplay up and showcase that sort of a performance that they have done so in the recent past as well in different tournaments that we've seen this team. And again, when it comes down to the play style, that is what is not favoring the side of course, Team QWERTY. But we shall see what sort of a play is the team going to be making, not only today, but in the next 2 days as well. On the other front, there are so many teams who find themselves in the close proximity to each other in the center of the zone itself, and it is going to be modified so close to NFPX Sky. And on the other tangent, it is going to be another team that seems to be trying to take it on fire, and that is going to be 52xRage, a team that is going to be taking on the players of I8 from the looks of it, and this is not looking good because 52xRage have already got 2 of their players already knocked, and it is going to be Zen and Faster, the 2-man who are going to have to reign in supreme against the players of I8, who have been able to create a perfect flank angle as they have been able to get a 2-man split against the players of 52xRage. This is not looking good. The smoke was created from the side of Zen to be able to give that cover and of course give that revival, but will not be allowed. And Zen, well mate, your Zen approach is certainly not going to be working in this fight against I8, because I8 is on a domination role in today's gameplay. From the previous game to the second game itself, that team has been able to get some high frag and chicken dinners for themselves and are on a roll, so they certainly will not be allowing the team of 52x to completely walk away out of the situation. But Zen bringing in some perfectly set up knock onto the blade, and in that he has the X factor. He's created a lot of smoke that is certainly going to be helping him as well as his teammate, but will it be enough? Will the smoke itself be enough against the onslaught that I8 are planning for 52xRage? From the looks of it, probably not.
That is going to be the case, but as soon as he finds himself closer to where the players are actually knocked down, he is waiting just for the player to come under the smoke cloud and just get the revival done. Before that happens, it is going to be UZM through the smoke. Not only he finished a knocked player, but the last player that was still surviving, and this is not a team that you need to mess with. You give an inch, you will make a mile, but Crypto also getting a lot of shots, and now Team QWERTY is back on track, is back on action as all the fights is erupting around the area of Potato Hill. As before, he just got to see 52 Rage just making an exit, and a lot of hot party situation. It was QWERTY trying to pin down the players of I8, and now it is North Esports realizing and sensing the sense of the situation. They know the gravity of the situation and trying to pin down the players of QWERTY. This is one good fight where all these 3 teams are in the same vicinity. We are still heading toward the 13-meter circle. Still, we have 12 to 13 players still alive, 13 teams rather alive in this center of the circle, and this circle shift will eventually be a more ruthless one, as still out of the total area, 40%. Close to 40% is completely dedicated in the oceanic region, thus leaving a lesser space for the players to survive into that.
Well. Along with that, when you talk about the teams that are remaining in this game itself, we've got 52xRage that has been eliminated on the front. All across on the back angle, we also do have Portal Esports is insane, making that insane rotation that we can see on towards the north part of the map itself. On the other front, he's the only player surviving, and Ivy also the only player surviving is going to be Dr. Fate. So a lot of interesting plays that have been showcased right here, but the game is just getting started. It is going to get that much more crazier, and it is going to be Wolf from the side of Clarity who has been knocked, who has been blocked in terms of the way that this team was trying to retaliate, because there are so many teams. There are so many teams in the zone itself. We do see Dani, who is going to be from the side of Clarity at the edge, but on the other front, the other teammates of his are going to be in the zone itself, almost in the center of the zone, and that is where we did see Wolf getting a knock. But Team QWERTY, this team is looking like wanting to convert kills for themselves, but it is Team I8 who are the ones who are getting those kills, because they've already gotten 5 kills for themselves and they are still not yet done. And same, of course, can be a spot for Quraysh Esports as well, because they've got those 3 kills with when they took the fight against Ivy, but now they are ready to take the onslaught to the face of Team QWERTY. Now, this is going to be an interesting fight, because both these teams need those points, but which one is going to be climbing up on top? Which one will be giving away the information? For now, it is going to be Adi OP, who is just absolutely getting that information for himself, but this is where Wolverine should be able to spot. He should be able to spot, and he, I believe, has been able to spot that one player from the side of Quraysh on the other front of the map altogether. Edgar from the side of TUF is taken down FS's Malik, and the fight between Quraysh Esports and Team QWERTY is just getting started.
The best part for Quraysh is that they are holding those important compounds that is really tough to charge upon. Even if QWERTY tries to do so, it's an open ground, and in that doing so, they really might fall around, and QWERTY know the susceptibility of pushing onto that, and that is the reason they are finding themselves on the edge of the circle. This is one good strategy that can reap them a lot of points, but for the moment, it is them that is still finding all the players, and they just need to avoid all those bullets that can come towards them, with Khan just making and duly noting each and every player's positioning well. And now, as soon as we got to see the circle is going to be shifted in next 30 seconds or 40 seconds, it is gonna be Quraysh that is now trying to pin down the players of North Esports. So now all of a sudden Quraysh Esports are just looking pretty much aggressive in terms of the gun gameplay that they're taking, because this is a team that is trying to take two teams at a time. One on the left hand side being the QWERTY, the team that's really trying to make a comeback in the 3 game itself. They are on the success of the little ladder, and now this is going to be one big game that they are trying to make, and in that there is going to be Quraysh that is just trying to stop them. But as soon as the circle made a shift, it is going to be again Khan that always leads the charge, and he is finding themselves closer towards the area where ZARAR Esports, all the 4 players are present, and now Khan must have given all those info to the rest of the team that yes, we are safe, nobody is there in the same vicinity, all the 3 players can come and congregate, and there is one little shack, one little small compound that they can take the control of. But on the left hand side there are 4 or 5 teams. Talk about IA, talk about Modified, talk about NFP, talk about Star. But before that happened, it was a complete exit for both Esports, and also now IA are trying to pin them down, and the banter continues, and now Team QWERTY are finding themselves in a closer vicinity as both the team rotated simultaneously.
They most certainly did, and have got them off air as they made that rotation, and in doing so, it is going to be Team QWERTY who seem to be at the better half of the fight, as they have not only the team of Quraysh Esports in their crosshairs, but also ZARAR that's going to be in the vicinity. So not the kind of play that Team QWERTY were anticipating, but that is what the zone is going to be creating for them, and that is an opportunity that they are going to have to bring into their favor. On the other front, Team Star, utilizing those perfectly set up nades, are also going to be bringing a lot of damage to the players of the Team Grounder, which is going to be decimating the position of the Grounders in terms of the points that they were hoping for. On the other front, it looks like Zebian has been caught off guard from the side of UNB, and this is not looking like a fight that Clarity Esports will be able to dominate against, or a circle that they will be able to dominate against, because when it comes down to the play itself, we did see Zabian, who was in the center of the zone, and Dani was at the edge, and as soon as the circle shifted, so many of the teams are going to be making that rotation that few of them are most certainly be going to caught off guard. But right here we do have Team QWERTY taking on the fight, as we were just discussing, not only against the players of Quraysh but also ZARAR. So a spread out approach, and in all of this, now it is Team Sky who has moved in along as well and have already brought down Wolverine. So this is looking like Team QWERTY have a bit too much to chew, and this is not going to be an easy fight for them to be able to take. And look at the play that is being made from the side of Ash from Team Sky. He just completely flew that buggy to get into the compound, and what a play this is, because Khan has been brought down to his knees, Wolverine has been brought down to his knees. Team QWERTY were looking pretty good a few minutes ago, but now they have too much on their plate. From one side is Team Sky, from the other side was Team Quraysh, and they had also taken a fight against ZARAR, which will result in Team QWERTY stretched out thin.
That's how Team Sky roll on, and they are certainly making it pay. Wolverine goes down, and on a different tangent, it is going to be FS. Freestyle's Gully Boy is also going down. So big names, big teams are going down slowly and steadily, and now they are facing the brunt and the heat of this moment, with Khan going down, Wolverine going down. Katir was the one that was leading the charge with his M249, and on a different tangent, now QWERTY has started retaliating against NFP Sky, as now Halsey has gone down, and resulting that Khan needs the revival. Voltrox has just been revived because he's still surviving on 20 HP. Halsey, it seems that his revival is going to be a pretty tough case for the moment. It is again Gully Boy that has been sent to the lobby. Domination mode is where UAG is standing with Edgar, a lot of kills, and we talked about the revive. Halsey is getting the revive, and they're finding on the edge of the circle, and if the circle shifts away from them, they need to actually face the brunt of Team QWERTY, because they are on the front hand side, and this is going to be tough situations for them. And not only for them, it is also going to be for the sides of Quraysh Esports. But before that happened, it seemed that Team Sky are in a real hurry, as they are just not giving any sort of seconds and any sort of breathing space for Team QWERTY, but Voltrux with that extreme flank angle is really making a big dent onto the players of NFP as Khatir is finding himself in that precarious position, still not on 100 HP. That means the fight will be a more susceptible one for him.
Well, as Khan just tries to move it along, this is not the way that he's supposed to be making this push, and in doing so, his teammate has also taken a lot of damage from that nade parade that was showcased, and in this a 1v1 situation, it is certainly going to be Khatir who should be the one who should come out on top, because the M249, along with the health working in the dude's favor, should be able to get the team of Team QWERTY. Voltrux, the one final player, brought down to his knees is not well. Not for now, that is not going to be the case. This is a little bit of a cat and mouse situation as they keep on going round and round around this small little watchtower. But will that be enough for Khatir to be able to not only confirm the kill but also get the revival to his teammate, because Elsie is up on top and we can clearly see that his health is going down slowly but surely. And in this, the smoke has been popped. It is going to be, of course, Voltrux will go up there, will get the kill confirmed. And what a play! What a play from Team QWERTY's Voltrux. He moved up on top, got the kill confirmed, and now has also taken down Khatir. He's the one man surviving, but this team was just phenomenal in terms of the way that they played. And Team QWERTY, of course, Voltrux, one final player remaining, 7 kills confirmed. And now when it comes to the zone itself, Voltrux is in favor. Even though he's a one-man army, it is certainly going to be favoring his watchtower.
M2496X in close range. You really need to check what sort of scope is actually equipped into that. NFP Sky Sports, better you get these sort of things sorted, else you just fought it on, because it was no case Voltrux could have survived. But all credits goes to that lad. The way he actually held his nerve was not so easy. 20 HP was what he was surviving, and the movement that he did show, he did completely outplayed the players of NFP. But moving on along, we have the fight that is erupting on the eastern half of the circle, where 3 players from the sides of ZARAR Esports are acting as if they are 9th player indeed. At this moment, 5 kills is what they're standing, and they are completely decimating the lobby. And now it's a charge in from the sides of North Esports onto the compound of Quraysh that they were holding for a long time. It is going to be the numbers advantage that is certainly favoring North Esports, but it's not all about the numbers advantage. It's the skill set. It is the outplaying sort of gameplay that can really pull on the players. North Esports still not able to bring at least one knock. They're just don't have enough of courage, because they know they are getting all those sound cues. They know there's only 2 players, but still not enough for them to make a push into this compound. This fight is actually elongated in all these, so it can be ZARAR at any point, because it's not Esports that are finding themselves in the open position. And Vaz, he is on the flank angle. Bonga is on the flank angle. At any point, at any moment, North Esports can go down here.
Well, they could if at all ZARAR decides to bring in a third party situation, but for the moment, North Esports certainly seem to be in control as they bring in that nade parade party against the players of Quraysh Esports. And in doing that, they've been able to absolutely hunker down the health of Quraysh Esports' players, where Adi as well as his teammate Dubai is not doing good. They've been brought down to almost 40% health and less, and all of that, Clarity Esports on the other front has been brought down to their knees with 0 kill to them, and moving on from this lobby on the 7th position. Not the kind of play that, of course, Clarity anticipated, but ZARAR on the other front, Bonga right there, trying to take on a fight, and that is where we do see ZARAR busy with. So they're going to be busy with that fight as Quraysh Esports try and bring down the players of North Esports, where indeed in this conversation Quraysh are the ones reigning in supreme, even though it's just a 2-man squad. This 2-man squad through the smoke are absolutely trying to pincer down the opponents. It is going to be Adi who finally is going to be brought down to his knees, and Dubai against the 3 army. Well, 3 players against, not going to be an easy one, but what a play this is being created from the side of Dubai. And he is going to be eliminating the entirety of North Esports. An incredible turn of events through the smoke. All of them go down, and Quraysh still standing. The compound is still going to be theirs, and Adi will be now given the revival, and Quraysh Esports will move on along with 7 kills confirmed. We were talking about how important it is for Quraysh Esports to get the kills confirmed, to get the points from them, and this is exactly what they are working towards. A GG play is being showcased from them, but I8, somebody stop I8. 14 kills is what this team is at, with a 3-man squad, and 1 more added on is going to be 15. This is just impeccable play and a perfect day for I8 Esports. It certainly seems like a third chicken dinner is in the making.
One more, that's what I beg. One more, that's what I ask, as now the player are on a move with the help of this Vector, and this is looking absolutely phenomenally well. With 2 players on a charge, they are on a roll, and one more is what we get to see as Crypto is just looking unstoppable, as now UNBxNF has been completely thrown away from this lobby, and now Crypto is finding himself in the smoke. Dubai is still surviving from the side of Quraysh Esports, and in doing so, it is going to be just the 4 teams alive, and this time 3 players are coming into the last circle. Can this be a big a pressure impression for the sides of ZARAR Esports. We talked about the kill-hungry department. We talk about the department of kill from the sides of ZARAR Esports. That was certainly favoring them. 24, if I'm not wrong, before this game was the number, and they are certainly increasing the tally as now we get to see, and now we are heading to the last half of the circle. But Voltrux is also the one savior that really made it possible for the team to get those important at least 5-8 placement points, and that is certainly going to be the case. But are they going to be enough for them, as now Blade, Crypto and Uzium are on a chart, but the circle is certainly favoring ZARAR Esports with all the 3 players alive. But i8 Esports are just holding the edge of the circle with the rest of the lobby are on the northeast side of the circle. ZARAR Esports, they just need to make sure that they just don't get backstabbed, because Blade is just looking absolutely phenomenal. With Crypto, a lot of kill is what they have been able to secure.
What a play this has turned out to be. I mean, not only for i8, talk about Team QWERTY as well. Voltrix, the only man from the entirety of the team is remaining, and the only man who's been able to get kills, and not only kills, 7 kills. 7 kills is what Voltrix has been able to achieve for his team. So this team, Team QWERTY, needed those points. They've been able to accumulate that. Team Quraysh Esports needed the points. They've been able to accumulate that, and they are still not yet done. Both these teams that I spoke about still have 1 man remaining in this zone, and in that, now we're going to be in the 15-minute marker, going to be rushing in along, where the blue zone is going to be pushing on, and it is going to be i8 that is going to have to make that rotation to get into the comfort of the zone itself. And of course, being in the open, being in the flats, not going to be an easy task. Therefore, smokes are going to be popped off to get that perfect spot into the zone. Same, of course, is going to be the case for Voltrix as well, as he needs to get into the zone. And it seems like ZARAR's 2-player Bongo, as well as, of course, Cronus, are looking on to exactly this front. It is going to be Voltrix, rather, who is bringing in so much of burst damage, trying to spray onto the positioning of ZARAR, and giving away his information is not probably the best way to move about it. But perhaps before this even took place, it was Voltrix who had already been spotted from the side of ZARAR. And now, as ZARAR is busy with Voltrix, it is going to be i8 who jump into the fight, who jump into the edge of the zone itself. And this is the moment that i8 were waiting for. ZARAR are absolutely bringing domination to the players of i8, because just in a matter of seconds as they made that rotation, the team of i8 have been brought down to a 2-man squad.
Indeed, it is going to be 2-man squad is what they're standing. Will the revival be the case or not? If not, it is going to be a 1v1 affair between all these teams with 1 player each standing. And before that happens, it's going to be Bonga. AKM6 says is there we go, and still the players are alive. 2 players is what they're standing for the moment, with Uzium just getting fine moving himself onto that sliver of an SP. But no, that is not going to be the case, as Blade falls down, and all of a sudden Uzium is the last player surviving. Unfortunately, this time he has got those first aid working in his favor, and he has got those first aid. Before that happens, it is going to be Cronus that is coming in, but Uzium took that knock onto Cronus, but his eye was completely set upon him, and Uzium was brought down to his knees. And ZARAR, a chicken that was really awaited for them. This time 9 kills, 1938 damage, 24 total points, and that's how you roll onto the first half of the chart.
What a play that was made from the side of ZARAR Esports, as well as Uzium from the side of i8 as well. Eventually, again, you talk about i8, their team was looking phenomenal. They did get away with so many kills, so it's absolutely fine that they did not get a chicken dinner, because they still are going to have a humongous lead when it comes down to their positioning. That's going to be, of course, on top of the overall ranking. But a GG play coming in not only for ZARAR, but also for the side of course, Quraysh Esports, as well as Team QWERTY. Voltrix, the man who was able to just hunker down the positioning of ZARAR for such a long time, and of course give a little bit of a mischief in that was absolutely perfect to be able to witness. But with all of that taken care of, let's move on along and have a look at the most valuable player from this game, and the MVP is going to be Voltrix from Team QWERTY. The dude had 7 kills. I mean, this is just absolutely crazy, and along with that, 960 damage, 343 healing done. It's absolutely fine, because he was all by himself, all alone. But of course, the way that he was able to get those kills working in his favor, and also the amount of distraction that he was against ZARAR in the end moments, that was comical. That was absolutely comical.
And before that, the fight with them and the NFP Sky around that, obviously the Cypher Tower, that was just phenomenal to watch, and that really helped him getting all those 7 kills, 96 damage. At the end, he couldn't have done anything rather than to just, he really tried hard. start, but I mean, just the numbers favor that one. Zone was also going away and away for him for the last 3 shifts, and then we got to see some real good gameplay. Talk about Crypto, 7 kill, 614 damage. Talk about Uzi M, 6 kill, 809 damage. Talk about ZARAR's player. Vaz was also the one that really brought the final in the coffin, 4 kill, 918 damage. So a lot of players that really chime in, but Blade was the one that really gave a lot of assistance. We talk about the fights, it is always Blade up to, it is always Crypto up to, and the Blade contribution cannot be just forget for this moment.
Well, what a play this has turned out to be. An interesting turn of events for so many of these teams, because this has been the kind of play that was anticipated and requested for these teams, and that is what they have done in this conversation. As we move on along with, of course, the match rank, and we've got I8 right there with 17 kills, 29 points is what that team got. ZARAR Esports right there, not that far away with 24 points, of course, working in that team's favor, but GG play is what was showcased, especially from the side of I8 once again, as they were so close to getting that 3rd chicken dinner for the day.
Indeed, they were certainly on a hat-trick, but they were just stopped by the prowess, that which with ZARAR Esports came in modified. Certainly did fall on just the 3 total points, but moving on along, we have the second page of their match ranking, where we got to see a lot of teams that did falter down. Team Star getting down, Portal Esports getting down, 52, Rage Esports again faltering down. Certainly not the day again.
For 52x Rage, it's not the day. It's not just the day. The gameplay that they are showcasing from one day to the next is not favoring them. But alongside all of that, let's reminiscent the 17 kill gameplay that was showcased from the side of I8, and as well as the other teams, like for example, of course, Voltrix from Team QWERTY. And with that, let's go on to the Oppo F19 Pro moments that will summarize the entire saga. And the battles started off right off the bat in the first few minutes itself, where it was, of course, Quraysh Esports as well as Portal, where we did see, there we go, Quraysh Esports chiming in and bringing in that kill department for themselves. And an interesting play what was showcased in this game, and it was so very crucial as well for Quraysh Esports as well as this team of Team QWERTY.
For a long time, both the teams, talk about Team QWERTY, Team Quraysh Esports, both were finding themselves in a long fight, and that eventually resulted Team QWERTY just surviving with 1 player, and that was obviously of Voltrix and some comical gameplay. As just mentioned, in the last moment itself, it was Halsey that really didn't take care, that his M249 is attached with 6 sides, and the moment he just scoped in, it was just too zoomed in for him to take down the players, and as soon as the players on the opponent side gave that small little jiggle and that movement, that certainly just outplayed him. But moving on along, we just saw I8 Esports with getting a lot of kill points until and unless ZARAR Esports held that strong will. I mean, they were in such a line of circle that was certainly favoring them, because one side of the back was completely cleared, and that really advantaged them for a long run. And getting the important kill, getting an important chicken is what at the end of the day mattered. 9 kill is what they were able to secure, and a total of 1938 damage. That completely shows that they were just not the part of the last fight, rather they were taking the fight throughout the course of this match.
Look at that. That's not fair. That's not right. I8, you are stealing away kills from the lobby. You've got Clarity Esports walking away with 0 kills. You've got FS with 0 kills. You've got so many teams with just 1 or 2 kills, because of the fact that I8 have 17 kills with 2,499 damage. I mean, this team is obliterating the entirety of this competition. Just second day, and the way that this team has been able to showcase their performance from yesterday up to today is looking really phenomenal. And of course, that is going to be showcased in the overall ranking as well, as they create a lead. Last time from the Sanhok map, as moved on to the match ranking, it was 10-point difference in the overall ranking, and now they have moved on along and created that much more of a space between them and Clarity Esports.
37-point difference between I8 and Clarity, and now certainly they are flying away with a lot of points. Before this match, they were certainly looking good in terms of the total point, but now they are looking magnanimously well in terms of the total of 134 total points at the end of 8 matches, and now the lead is with which I8 Esports are flying away with modified, still making sure that they are not losing the ground, with Grounders making a chase onto them, just a 1-point difference, and that will be taken care of. That will be chased when tomorrow's gameplay that will coming in. But I only want to look at the second half of the chart, as we got to see Team QWERTY, I mean, from 14 to 15 to 11 and now to team at 9. The team is certainly looking good in terms of the total point that they have secured. Tomorrow's aim and objective will be certainly to find themselves in the top 6 or top 5.
Most certainly should be the case, and should be hopefully working in that team's favor as well, because that team is finally starting to bring in that sort of a gameplay and play style that is going to be favoring them. But in all of this, Team Sky is slowly but surely faltering down. They find themselves on the 13th spot not what we want, not what we expected from this team, but it is what it is on the second day of course, the regional finals. With that, let's move on to the kill leaders that will be showcased, of course, where Crypto is reigning in supreme, 28 kills. 28 kills, and then his teammate Reviews chimes in with 19 kills. A crazy affair for Crypto indeed, with 4,387 damage that he has already accumulated in the 8 games that have been played already up until now in the regional finals, PMCO Pakistan region. But of course, from there we jump on down to Clarity's 420 boy with 18 kills, 34 damage that he's a part of in just the 19 minutes of average survival time. So aggressive stance is what Team Clarity always does showcase.
Not only the kill points, I mean the average survival time is also the highest in all the top 5 that we get to see, and somewhere down the line it is also Voltrux that is showing some sort of resistance and some sort of comeback that we just got to see Team QWERTY. Eventually it was just Voltrux. I would love to see the rest of the player talk about Rahman and the rest of the players from this lad from the same side to actually step up, and then it will be an all easy affair for Team QWERTY to make a move into the top half of the chart.
Well, with that, day number 2 of the PMCO Pakistan region does come to an end. That means we've reached the intermission. Now the next 8 remaining games are going to be a tick down. Every single game that we go through is going to be an opportunity for these teams to make it. Well, for some teams it is going to be absolutely confirming that they are probably not going to be able to move off 4th, but we shall see what sort of a play will the teams on the second page especially be bringing to the table. With that, a huge thanks to you guys for joining us, as well as Oppo F19 Pro for making this all happen. Hashtag Wook Up Your Fun. Thank you so very much for tuning in. We'll be back again tomorrow. Until then, take care.
Here we go now. 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 Here we go now.